Welcome to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Touchdown, Braylon Edwards.
Braylon Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Passing pattern to Edwards, touchdown, Michigan.
Where we bring you the best in sports, entertainment, and insight. Join us every weekday from 2 to 4 p.m. as we break down the latest games, analyze the biggest plays, and dive into the hottest topics in sports. We'll have exclusive interviews with your favorite athletes and guests, and you'll get a front row seat to all the action. So tune in to the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep.
Got one-on-one going end zone. Edwards in the air. Oh, what a catch by Braylon Edwards. His second touchdown of the game.
On the Woodward Sports Network, where sports comes to life.
Hey, hope you had a great weekend. This is the Braylon Edwards Show here on Woodward Sports. Ryan is with us, Kool-Aid, of course, and the man, Braylon Edwards, who almost predicted the exact score of Saturday's game in East Lansing. We are going to get to that. We're going to get to a lot of different football things that are on your slate here today. But first, I know, I was thinking about you all weekend for a couple of different reasons. Primarily because of the loss of a close friend of yours and a teammate, and it's super challenging. You've gone through, if people understood the last week, I don't want to share too much, but you've had a lot of heartbreaking moments this past week. You've handled it like a true leader, but this one's just as difficult to take because Nick Mangold was a good friend of yours, wasn't he?
Yeah, I appreciate that. I'm tired of waking up on Sunday or Monday and finding out one of my teammates, one of my brothers that I've gone to war with, is no longer on this earth. Zia Combs for me last week with the University of Michigan, a heart attack, and now Nick Mangold, who's been suffering from this genetic disorder since 2006 is when he got the information, which was the year in which he was drafted. It's sad to see another brother gone. As it relates to Nick Mangold, I take off the Michigan hat, man, just for respect and love of the rivalry and who he was. He's an amazing teammate, amazing friend. I think, the respect and the rivalry in the Ohio State-Michigan game is a lot of respect. They go through a lot of the same things we go through. They want it just as bad as we do. So when I first met him, when I got to the Jets, that's how I met him. He was, oh, great, another Michigan guy on the team because Dave Harris was already there. But, he said, look, I don't care what happened in Cleveland. All I ask is that you come here and you give your all. All I ask is every day you play like a Jet. We can have some fun. We can figure this thing out. And, boy, was he right. We definitely had some fun with the back-to-back AFC Championship games, and he was a main reason why. He was a mainstay. He's younger than me, but Nick was every bit the professional. Like how he prepared for games, how he kept people accountable for games. I'll tell you a quick story. 2010, got a DUI on a Monday, and when I came back into the team's good graces on that Wednesday or that Tuesday, everybody else, they're trying to, dance around. That's what friends do. It's like, hey, look, you all right? Is everything cool? Is your family straight? Man, this is crazy. They're tripping. They shouldn't have stopped you. You handled up. Blah. All these things to have my back and show love. He showed love in a different way. He was like, hey, look, man, I'm glad you're all right, but we can't have this. He said, for whatever the situation was, he said, we got to have you more accountable. He said, because we're going to need you down the stretch. He said, we're trying to get back to what we did last year and go even further, where we got to the 2009 AFC Championship when we lost to the Colts. He said, man, we need you to go further. He said, you're a leader on this team. I know this is year 2 for you, but this is your squad. So what you do, young guys pay attention to. So this was him. This was him daring to be a leader. This was him daring to say, this is what needs to be said to a guy I consider a colleague. And, it was a message received. After that, I got my together, for lack of a better word. We finished strong, lost again in the AFC Championship. But he was just that kind of guy. He was that kind of teammate. He was there. He was a good bridge between the coaches and the players. He was a good barometer on all things McAllen. We'll have a toast for you, my brother. But I send my love to Matthew. I send my love to Thomas. I send my love to Charlotte. And I send my love to his wife, Jennifer. He was an amazing family man. Outside of going to Ohio State, Nick did everything the right way. Yeah, he did everything the right way, man. And you will be missed, but God has brought you home, and the reason only God knows.
How did you take that type of constructive criticism from him after the incident?
I was in a space to take it well because, getting traded from the Browns, I left Cleveland. I left a lot of baggage behind. I was so excited to get out of Cleveland and be in a situation where, Rex Ryan was a great coach, cared about his players. I thought the team was on the bigger things and better things, and I just loved being a piece of the New York Jets. They brought me back. My second year, they picked up my option, and it was going to be fun. Well, it was fun. So when he gave me that criticism, Shep, it was coming from a place where I had already kind of gotten through some of the weeds, and so when it happened, I was ready to say to myself, like, this is unacceptable. This is not what we need. This is not what they need. And you're trying to make a home here. You can't try to make a home here and F up in this manner. But when he came to me with that information, it was like, man, he's right. I was already thinking that, but I'm glad somebody said it. I'm glad somebody and I had this moment, especially a captain. That's why he wore that C on his chest. So I have somebody to hold me accountable. I have somebody to say, hey, look, that's BS, not coming from a Rex Ryan, not coming from a Brian Schottenheimer. Or you brought up Henry Eller one time. I forgot to tell you, I was my wide receivers coach in New York.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So I know him. 16 seasons of pure route running assassin. You're absolutely correct. But I took it well because I wanted to be a Jet. I wanted to stay a Jet, and I really meant when I say, like, Jets, like, I mean that. Much like I do when I talk about Ann Arbor. So I received it well in that moment.
Your head coach at the time, Rex Ryan, was very emotional over the weekend. I'm sure you were as well. When you're that emotional over somebody, he's obviously made an impact, not just on you, but on Rex Ryan and others too. I mean, is that just kind of who he was, or was he the quiet guy that everybody he waited for them to come to him?
Nah, Nick's not quiet. Nick's not loud, but Nick's not quiet.
Okay.
Yeah, Nick wasn't a quiet individual. A lot of laughs. The big Santa, kind of like the Santa chest when he cracks a joke, it stays there. He said, whoa, I don't know about that, Braylon. Didn't you guys lose last year by 30? Like, that's him. Like, that's his humor.
Yeah.
And we listen. You know what I'm saying? Rex fell in love with Nick because Rex is a defensive guy. He likes all things defense. But Nick was physical. Nick was in those trenches. Nick's somebody you can trust. They talk about foxhole guys. He's a foxhole guy.
Yeah.
For we did. So he built that relationship with, and I had, that Michigan, Ohio State, I don't care who you are. It takes a second to still warm up to that other side, even if your teammates. It took me a while with San Antonio. I can go down the list of guys I played with from Ohio State. It takes you a while. Didn't take that long with Nick. Like, it did not take that long with Nick. First time I was in the huddle with Nick, I knew what Nick was about. I get to practice.
How's that? How did you know?
So he's calling, he's getting all the guys, getting all the guys ready for Mark. Mark may call the plays, but the center typically gets everybody together. So it's my first practice. And I go out there, and I'm excited. I'm ready to chomp at the bit. I'm going against Revis, throw me a jump ball so I can show them what they've got. And so I'm kind of like, my thing was always half in the huddle. So, like, I'm legitimately, if the huddles form here, I'm a couple feet over. I can hear, because I have to run all the way out there. So I got to run, I got to get lined up. So let me just, Yep. Okay, cool. And I'm taking off. I tried that with the first day. He said, hey, hold on. 17, get in the huddle. 17, get in the huddle. Come on, 17, get in the huddle. I was like, all right, nobody's talking. Okay, fine. I get in the huddle, and then after practice, we had a moment. He came up to me. He said, nah, no big thing. It just, we do things a certain way. But I recognize the energy from Michigan. So I know he had that energy from Ohio State. Like Lloyd Carr, we do things a certain way. You got to be a Michigan man. It's got to look a certain way. Same thing for him with Jim Tressel. It's got to look a certain way. You got to be accountable. If you're supposed to be in the huddle, get yourself in the huddle, get the full play, because I have missed a word or two before not being fully in the huddle. So he was absolutely right. But that's the guy he was. That's my first practice. And he's the only guy that came up to me with that energy after the situation. Like, this is the guy he was. That's why he's in the Ring of Honor for the New York Jets. I'm glad he was able to receive his jacket, not posthumously.
Yeah, I am too. All 11 years with the Jets, a 7-time Pro Bowler, 2-time All-Pro, truly one of the better Jets offensive linemen in the history of the sport. Did his impact, and I'm sure your impact on him as well, but did his impact on you change you moving forward and how you led with other people too?
100%, because then it got to the point where, I'm the guy that I will go out to practice and I will legitimately, proverbially, I will kill myself in practice to make sure I'm doing all the things. But I'm also going to be funny. I'm also going to crack jokes. I'm also not playing pranks, but I'm doing the things. I'm that guy.
You have fun.
100%. I like to enjoy it. Like, look, this is something I do in my life. This isn't my life per se. So I like to have fun. But then looking at it from Nick's point of view on just certain things, when I got to Seattle, San Fran first and then Seattle, I started noticing myself talking to the younger players a little different. Like I started noticing when they're goofing off a little bit, hey, let's tighten it up. You know what I'm saying? We got our ass kicked on Sunday. What are we out here doing? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was another thing he was big on. So I started noticing that, how I talk, and how I gave the game back. You would always see Nick working with some of the younger offensive linemen, some of the offensive linemen that, didn't start and were scout team guys or third string guys. You would see him off in the corner giving those guys, whether it was Vladimir Dukas, which was a young project for those guys. He would be off in the corner figuring things out. Hey, look, man, on this play, why don't you stay in here? If you can just watch him. Couldn't hear the conversation, but I could see him over there working. I could see him over there teaching a younger teammate and getting with him and getting that.
When do you think that begins in the NFL? We've seen it with Taylor Decker. You brought it up earlier this year. He was working with Giovanni Manu, I believe, during training camp. When did you start doing that as a quote-unquote veteran where you felt like, okay, I'm in a position now where I can help some of the younger players?
Yeah, Shep, to your point, I don't think it's an age. I think it's more so it's how you view the organization views you. So when the organization when they're legitimately 70% of the offense is going your way, like they value you, they care about you, like you're that team. So in that space, you realize I got to start changing some of the things I do. When I'm the focal point, when I'm getting led, when you start seeing your name getting mentioned a little bit in team meetings more, when you start to see people following you or you'll watch film, I think it was like my third year in the league, and I was watching some of our younger guys in practice do one-on-ones, which is my favorite drill. Anytime I can embarrass a DB, sign me up. But watching one-on-ones, and I'm starting to see some of the younger guys, whether it was Steptoe, whether it was Travis, whether it was Brian Rubisky, another Ohio State guy, like emulating my moves. Like I'm watching them at the line of scrimmage. I'm like, oh, that's my move. I'm like, oh, that's top of the route on the comeback route. Whoa. I stair-step inside and then come back in there. Oh. So then you start watching. That lets me know I got to keep it going. In terms of talking, when you like that team, you can feel people looking at you. It's an energy. Like, and I learned that at Michigan. You learned that in high school. You learn it in Little League. When people are looking for you, what is number 1 thinking in this moment? What's number 80 thinking in this moment? What is 17 doing right now? And you can feel people look at you like that. Yeah, that's when you know.
And coaches bring you up and
100%. If you feel like you have to say it.
Yep.
Say it.
That's really good. That's a great life lesson, and sorry for your loss. 164 games played for Nick Mangold and the New York Jets. Yeah. All 164 as a starter. That tells you something. All right, we were both engaged with the Michigan State battle. That took place Saturday night in East Lansing. I was down there for all kinds of tailgating. Okay. Had an absolute blast walking around, talking with different people. I love the camaraderie between Michigan and Michigan State people and friendships and so on and so forth. I did talk with a lot of people who just – the apathy on the part of MSU is glaring to me. Okay? And I'm not making fun of them, okay?
No,
my daughter's a senior there. I want them to do well. I think it's important for our state. I think, I want our kids, I want our really good football players in the state of Michigan, I want them staying home.
I think it's been good that Braylon has also stood on that too, saying he actually wants a good Michigan State program for the better of the
Sure he does. Yeah, and I believe him because he's a man of his word.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wonder about that because I heard that during Tom Izzo's tenure, of course, when I was calling Michigan basketball, and he's at the beginning of Tommy Amaker and the beginning of John Beilein. I want him to be good, and then suddenly that team starts beating you. You're like, hold on a second, man. Yeah. This gets a little old. But I believe, as an outsider with no skin in the game, I want our kids, Detroit kids, Grand Rapids kids, wherever, I want them going to Michigan State, the regional schools. I want them to promote the state of Michigan football. Right. But walking around and talking, I went to 4 different tailgates.
Yeah.
And there's just no connection and passion that I saw on the part of Michigan State for that game against Michigan. Almost as if they accepted that they're not going to win. And that's really tough to take. That was my guess. You've got a lot of friends who are Michigan State fans. We talked with one on Friday, TJ Duckett. Awesome time. If you missed any of it, follow us on our social media channels. It was a fantastic interview. Did you get the same feel, or am I off base there?
I don't think you're off base, and this is what I think. This is what I think about it. The rivalry with Michigan State has always been an annoying one because Michigan State is the type of institution where, and this has always been, I'll get to who they are now, but they've always been the type of institution, if they're not good, they're not talking about the game. And then when the game comes up, then they talk about it a little bit. It was like, they'll have conversations. Don't let them be up in the game. Now they're talking about something. Don't let them win, because then they got to talk. It was like, oh my God, we beat you. You guys suck. It's blah blah blah.
Preach
but
it,
if they that's it. If they win, it's you guys suck. We won. They didn't think they were going to win. They never had faith that they were going to win. They weren't even optimistic they were going to win. On the outside, when we win, which throughout the rivalry, with the exception of a small space, which I'll talk about too, like we're supposed to win. Like when you win, it's like, well, you were supposed to win. Well, we suck. They continue to move the goalposts back. So why are we even in a rivalry with them? Like, if you guys don't care, if the conversation when we win is always, well, we were supposed to win, then why do I care what you say in this rivalry? Because that's what Michigan State is. Like, they expect to lose, and if they win, they have something to say. If they don't, then it's you should have beat us. In fact, you should have beat us by more. You should have beat us by more. So that's why I tap out, and I have no apathy for them in that department. They got beat. You typically do get beat.
118 all-time meetings between the two schools. I think it's a hell of a rivalry. I want balance, but I understand why you wouldn't for sure. As a guy who bleeds maize and blue, I was just a little surprised that people had just come to the conclusion before even going into the game or even just watching the game. I'm fine playing cornhole while the game's going on because I just don't think we've got a chance.
Okay, now here's the other side of that. Why would you feel any different? I completely understand the people at Michigan State. You got a negligent school who legitimately has done the Mel Tucker thing. Why would you hire Mel Tucker? Like, who hired Mel Tucker? Why would you hire Mel Tucker? What, the coach, like the Narduzzi situation, you botched that. Your president that you had for lack of the interim president situation that you guys were operating under, or the AD for the last 12 years, like who has an interim president AD for 12 seasons? This is what Michigan State had.
Yeah.
You finally got some NIL money. You had Spartan Dogs, all that going for you. Mel Tucker situation messed that up. Now, in a rush to hire a coach, you hired a coach from a conference that was legitimately depleting because he can recruit on the West Coast. The landscape has changed. You brought a man into East Lansing that knew nothing about East Lansing. Fine. You don't have to know anything about Michigan State. Can you recruit? Well, he said he could, but I didn't see that. Do you understand how to use the transfer portal? Michigan State still has the same issues they had last year and still has the same issues they had the year before that. That means he doesn't know how to use the transfer portal.
I don't disagree with any of that. Michigan did that with Rich Rodriguez. Okay, why in the world would you hire Rich Rodriguez?
But this isn't about what Michigan.
Brady too. No, I know.
This isn't about what they did. This is about me understanding the people in East Lansing that have no faith in the team. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
There's nothing about East Lansing that they should have faith in because nothing has been given to them in the last, let's say, 20, so 5 years. Nothing has been given to them to really have faith in. And they had a brief synopsis with K9.
Yeah.
And then that was it. So I understand why they don't care.
I wish you and Brittany were with my wife and I when we went out to dinner Friday night with a bunch of friends.
We went out with our parents. We saw Springsteen.
Yeah, I know. I know you had bigger plans, but it would have been fun because I would have loved the conversation you would have had with. And we went with three other couples, and all three guys are Spartans, which is great. And their wives, two of the three are Spartans as well. And one of them actually said to me, I asked them legitimately, if they lose tomorrow, and we expect them to lose, what do you think happens with Michigan State football? And he said immediately he should be fired. I said, okay, who do you want? Yeah. He didn't necessarily have the answer that I think an informed person should have. Yeah. But I said, give me the reason why it's such an appealing job. Like, I think it is, but I like to hear from people. He literally said to me, well, think about it. We've won national championships in hockey and basketball. And I went, hold on a second. Do you honestly think anybody coming from an SEC school or anywhere gives a rat's ass that you won a hockey championship in 2007? Honestly.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Do you think anybody cares that they've won a basketball championship in 2000?
I don't think so.
Absolutely not. Because if they did, Kentucky would be really good. North Carolina would be really good. Duke would be really good. Denver, who wins hockey championships, would have a really good football program. That doesn't matter. What matters is what? What do you think is the most important thing as this school goes forward to try and replace, if they indeed do fire Jonathan Smith, and I'm not advocating for it, I'm just saying if they do, because 8 Power 4 schools, 12 overall, but 8 Power 4 schools are now in search of a head coach. LSU with Brian Kelly, James Franklin at Penn State, Billy Napier at Florida. Those are the top 3 jobs, at least many people feel.
Go get James Franklin. Because Michigan State, in my opinion, this is no shade, this is the truth. They're not looking to win national championships. Now, you can say they are, you'd be lying to yourself. Let's be honest. They're looking to be competitive. Michigan State is looking to do what? Be 10-2. Be in the conversation. And
they want to be in the college football playoff.
Maybe next year. Who's the best person at that? It's James Franklin. James Franklin can recruit, and he literally could recruit it about, an 8-hour drive from here? He knows this area. He knows this landscape, the Big Ten, and he is good in the living room. He can get your kid to come to Michigan State. Why not have him?
He does recruit the Detroit area
100%.
very well.
Like Michigan State is looking for a sense of competency. That's what we're looking for from Michigan State. Like, we're not looking for them to win a national championship next year. We're not even looking for them to get into the playoffs in the next 2 years.
You'd like to get to a bowl game.
100%.
I guess the argument would be this.
Yeah.
I'm not.
And if I'm Michigan State, wouldn't you be happy with that?
I'm not dismissing that.
Yeah.
3-7 in his career against Michigan. So that's number one. Number two, he's in the midst of a $49.7 million buyout, if you allow me to round up, a $50 million buyout, which shouldn't matter, okay? How much is it going to cost you to get a guy like that? Yeah. You know, I think
you need a deal.
Yeah, you need a deal, right?
Need a deal.
And therein lies, I think, your most valid point. Whether it's James Franklin or anybody, a big name guy.
Yeah.
Too many times I hear Michigan State fans, and my buddy said this to me Friday night. We just want a guy who's going to come and stay, and I'm like, you want a guy who's going to come and win? That should be first and foremost. It's ridiculous. I mean, that's the mindset. And I think it's okay. I say this to people all the time. Change your mindset a little bit. Your mindset is what? I mean, you've said this to me numerous times. My team's got to compete for a national title. I'm like, good for you.
Well, that's what I was told growing up.
Yeah.
And then when I went there, that's what I kept. And then holding to that accountability. Look, I struggled, like as did other Michigan alums. We struggled from 2007 to 2021. There's a lot of butt whooping in there and a lot of not times being competitive, but it didn't matter. Every time I turned on the expectation was the expectation.
Amen.
Whether we were supposed to be there or not, the expectation is the expectation.
I love that.
Until eventually, it panned out.
And damn it, that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
Legitimate expectations.
Yeah.
All right? If you're a Chippewa, you can't expect that. We can expect Mac West title. No offense, right? Ryan, but it's true. It really is. Yeah. Michigan State's mindset is almost very similar to that of the Tigers' mindset, where it's like, okay, if we get here, we're good.
That's why you can't.
When you should be saying, I expect to compete with Michigan, Ohio State, and Oregon for Big Ten titles.
Well, they got to bring in somebody with a bigger mindset then. You can't bring in somebody that comes from Oregon State, where they also are at the bottom of the totem pole in that conference. You got to bring somebody here with some different energy. Like, I'm not saying somebody has to be loud and have the best personality. They don't have to run around, ball hit it, talking about ski-u-ma and row the boat. They don't have to do that.
Row the boat.
Like,
I'm going to come jumping in. It's all about me, everybody. Are the cameras rolling? All right, I'm going to jump in. I want you guys all to catch me. People want that. And then they got steamrolled by Iowa.
You don't need that, but you have to come in with some personality, some swag to where if I'm a player, if I'm a family, and I'm like, where's my kid going to go to school? Let's look at this Michigan State situation. You have this new head coach. Okay, he's got some personality about him. He's got some moxie about him. Okay, I kind of like what's going on. Let's do a little deeper dive and let's see what he is. Also, too, in the landscape now where a school can change in 2 years, 1 year, I don't want to hear this. We want a guy to stay. No, we don't. I want a guy that can come turn my program around and make me buy into it. So what if it happens fast? I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. That is just the rate that things move. You got to find a guy that can figure that out. Michigan State, they got money. They just don't want to waste it on a guy that doesn't know what he's doing, or they don't want to waste it on players. Like, they want to make sure the guy can sell them on who they're buying, what they're doing. They got a lot of money up there in East Lansing. If you get the guy in there that can pull the money out of those pockets, now you find yourself a guy. Jonathan Smith is not pulling money out of Magic Johnson's pocket.
You're right.
He is not pulling money out of Matt Ishbia, who's down the street, or Gilbert, or insert another one of these billionaires.
I never thought about it like that.
He's not pulling any money out of their
I never
pocket.
thought
You
about it
gotta
like that
have a guy that can pull some money out of his pocket because they have it. But you know things about billionaires and people up there. Oh, they're not spending their money unless they know.
They want to see something in return.
Exactly.
It's called ROI.
100%
What's the
return
return of it? And I don't need a suite. I don't want you. I can
Shep,
buy the
pay me
damn
my
suite.
money.
I'll buy
I can buy the stadium.
Yeah, for crying out loud.
Stadium.
I want wins. Okay, I want to go to national championship games. I want to go to college football playoff games. Right. So I'm interested to know what you think the criteria would be. Because I think you got to be able to raise money. I think you're 100% right. You got to prove you can recruit the area. There's no doubt about that. And you've got to be able to. If you don't know the portal, you're in deep crap.
Yeah,
right?
That's it.
Yeah, and I think another thing as well is when Michigan lost his way underneath Rich Rod, it seemed like they lost their way in the Big Ten overall. All the goals that I had always heard growing up, my dad was a Michigan grad. It was like Big Ten championship, Ohio State, Michigan State, Rose Bowl. And I think that those anchors help keep your team at least with a goal, with your mindset set on something. I think what Michigan State is experiencing right now is a guy who doesn't quite understand the culture, doesn't quite know what to speak. He's not really anchoring them to anything. I don't think that Michigan State is really getting fired up for anything right now.
Yeah.
Like what? It's just they just seem listless.
Yeah.
So it's like, where's their spine? Who is Michigan State right now? And that
They
to
seem
me is
searching,
what I think.
don't they?
That's what I'm saying.
Say what you want about Rich Rodriguez. Here's what Michigan did: 3 years, not working.
Yeah,
Cut your losses
really quick.
That's what happens a lot of times. It's not working. We got to move on. Okay, and I'm not proposing Michigan State do that. I've got another name, and these are the three big names. I don't think any of those three are coming to Michigan State. Sorry. Okay. I would look at Pat Fitzgerald from Northwestern. I would. 17 years at Northwestern.
That's not bad.
If you can win double digits, and he did it 3 or 4 times at Northwestern, you should be able to use that at Michigan State.
Okay, hear me out on this one.
Go ahead.
The coach before this one for Michigan State, what happened with him? Scandal.
Scandal with the female.
Now
yes.
you're about to hire another head coach who got fired for scandal.
Okay, but there's like a scandal with Brian Kelly. Okay,
I never said Brian Kelly.
I know you did. I'm just
I got
using
you.
it. There's a scandal there. Okay.
I just don't think
you're right. Bobby Petrino's had scandals. He's come back. Rick Pitino has scandals. He's come back.
This is true.
I agree.
Michigan State, though, they can't handle another scandal because I think Larry Nassar was on the hills up until 2021. And then right after that, kind of starts going down. Here comes Mel Tucker and all the stuff that they dealt with. So now that that's coming down, you insert.
Good point. Really good
It
point.
would be tough if I was on the board.
You better win. You're gonna put your neck on that chopping block. You better win, and you better win with him quickly, because then that kind of stuff goes away. You're right, though. You're 100% right. When you make this hire, whoever this may be, what's going to happen is people are going to dig.
Yeah.
What happened here? Why wasn't he successful there? Why is he available? Why is he coming here? And then the questions arise over and over and over again. It's the same thing with the NBA. Everyone's asking everybody, J.B. Bickerstaff over the weekend, what about the NBA gambling? It's hard to get away from that. With a guy like Pat Fitzgerald, you're right.
Sheesh.
That would be hard for people to not ask the question about the hazing incident, even though it was 3 years ago.
That NBA,
or 2022 when he got last coach.
The gambling.
That's interesting.
The gambling aspect of the game, and we always said, well, I know your man knows this thing. When it first happened, it's like, oh shoot, you let the floodgates in. Now you have this gambling, you have all these accusations, certain players, and then you look at all these different video footage, and a lot of video footage isn't. It means nothing. Like, it just, anybody can slay the video in a certain way to make it look like, oh, got you. With that being said, I can't even watch. Like, every single play, you're like,
Yeah.
did somebody do something there?
Wait,
was that something there?
Yeah.
Hold on. Why did the coach make that play?
Why did they pull that picture after 89 pitches? Why that guy's on a heater right now? He's on a 10-0 personal run. You're going to give him a break when your team just got to within 3 and you were down 13? I don't think so. Not a good idea,
not
right?
to mention basketball, as you said last week, has already had the Donahue thing.
Yeah.
So like,
right.
So this happens to a sport where we already know is, for lack of a better word,
he's talking more
some
now.
stuff there.
He's been
and here's what happens.
And now
here's what the media does. The media will get players, they'll get coaches, and they'll give good sound bites. Jaylen Brown gave a great sound bite over the weekend. And then we're going to, how do we keep the story alive? This is what happens in the media. I mean, it's not unique to sports or the NBA or anything. Now what? I got an idea. Let's go get a former mob boss of the Gambino family and talk to them and do an interview with them. Whoa! That'll hit social media. Now that is everywhere.
Let's go get the guys from Boston, with St. John's when all that was going on. What was that player? What was his name? He came and spoke to us, the gambler. He went to Fresno State. He was from Boston, got drafted by the Celtics.
I forget.
What was his name? He was electric, got drafted by Boston, was from Boston. But he came and spoke to us when I played with the Seattle Seahawks. He was talking about gambling and all this kind of stuff. It's like 2012.
It's in one ear, out the next.
Right, yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. I know it's well-intentioned.
Yeah.
And it's good that the leagues do that, okay? But I feel sometimes the leagues do it just because they got to cover their ass.
Basketball.
Right? Magic Johnson, when he was with HIV. Hey, guys, just want you to know, here's what happened. Don't do it. Phone call. Why's the boss waiting outside the hotel? I'll tell you why. Because he's up there with 6 hookers. That's why. Okay? That's what happens. Seriously, that's what happens, okay?
Game is game.
Put a hold on the bus. Okay, we're going to be a little late. Oh, suddenly he's a DNP. Why not? He's tired. It's called what? Load management.
Bray. He held that
literally
laugh so
load
long.
management.
Load management.
All right, when we
Oh, man. Bray has left the set. Bray has left the set.
Did you just proceed to use? You know what? Won't repeat. You gotta go back and watch it.
We are locked.
Please make sure that is clipped.
We are locked and loaded.
Hey,
in a moment.
That's the second time. You're not slick over there. I peeked game.
We are locked and loaded. We'll get to Ben Johnson, but first, Art and Jakes. Man, what a great time it was this past weekend for the Michigan State Showdown in Lansing when Art and Jakes were there hosting us. Had an absolute great time for sure. And we want you to make it a pretty regular visit for yourself. Art and Jakes has got such good food. Rib nights on Monday night, fajitas and margaritas on Wednesdays, 80 TVs. You can watch the Pistons and the Cavs tonight. You can watch Monday Night Football, dun, 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 and a whole lot more with 80 television sets and 22 draft beers on tap for you, plus their fairway burgers. Oh, man, great food. Go to Art and Jakes to find their nearest location to you. Download their app, Art and Jakes, and tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
Ben Johnson should be the first call that you make for a lot of things. Let me tell you why. Because corporations, the government, even your insurance company, they like to play with a loaded deck. Now, what we can do for Ben Johnson, he's a fighter, so let him fight for you. We can get the compensation that belongs to you because that's what he does. Contact Ben Johnson today at benfights.com. He has years of experience in this game, and he knows how to talk to people and get what you not need, not want, but deserve. That's what it's about. It's about getting you what you deserve. benfights.com.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shep Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Baligian. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be than Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions.
You heard about me, word of mouth. Now soak it in, baby, and check me out.
Check this out. The brand new model year has arrived at Feldman Chevrolet, and nobody has more inventory. That's why we're Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer. With the biggest selection at the lowest prices, there's never been a better time to check us out. Check out this 2026 Silverado for just $179 a month, or this 2026 Equinox for just $229 a month. So check us out, because around here, it's fun being #1.
Head to WoodwardSports.com and click on Shop. Get the latest in Detroit sports apparel and exclusive Woodward Sports gear. WoodwardSports.com can get the whole team outfitted. Love the Pistons, Red Wings, and Tigers? We got something for you, too. Shop online at WoodwardSports.com.
Planet Fitness home, 50 metropolitan Detroit locations, and it is the home of the Judgment Free Zone. So when you sign up to Planet Fitness to start your workout journey, there is no judgment. We just want to get people in the gym because we understand mental and physical health are very, very important. That's why we spend as much time as we do. Also, keynote, this is fitness that fits into your budget. Not trying to charge you an arm and a leg to get in shape and to feel great. So come on down. We have trainers on staff, and then also the locker rooms are squeaky clean. When I say squeaky, emphasis on squeaky. Come on down. There is no judgment, and you will see individuals just trying to live their life on Planet Strong. We will see you at Planet Fitness.
Speaking of clean, squeaky, easy, it's all about Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. It's very clean, it's very smooth, and it's easy to drink. Real vodka, real iced tea, no bubbles, just a clean, crisp sip that won't fill you up on game day. Only 100 calories, 4.5% alcohol, perfect for tailgates, perfect for couch gates or wherever you're watching Lions football, Michigan State, you name it. You're a football fan. You're a sports fan. Let me take that back. You're a sports fan. You want something really crisp, really easy to drink, and it's Sun Cruiser Vodka Iced Tea. Please drink responsibly.
And we back.
All right, we back here on the Braylon Edwards Show, Monday through Friday, 2 till 4, here on Woodward Sports. We always encourage the chats to light it up and punch that like button, too, if you can for us. So we talked a little bit about football. What was your overall take from the week that was the National Football League this past weekend? There's a lot of different storylines there.
Well, just the fact that the NFL is still, it's open. It's a lot of periods of the season. It's open league, especially in AFC. There's only a couple decent teams in the AFC that I would pick from, what is what I'm saying. So they're a little bit open. And then on the NFC side of things, I think things are still wide open. Obviously, Green Bay played really good last night, so there'll be something to consider. Also, they're still ahead of us by half a game, at least in the division. So water finding its level a little bit as it relates to players. I think the players that are going to be the players at the end are standing up. You see what Jonathan Taylor was able to do. You see Micah Parsons. You see Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
In terms of what he was doing. Jordan Love, he put on a great performance last night. They're going to need that out of him, so we can talk in depth about that.
Drake May put on a hell of a performance.
Drake May is showing you. He's like, Drake May is a couple players away from being something special, and he already is showing you that with his consistent play. That's what a young guy, when you see the consistent play. And I like the fact that, Vrabel lets him play.
Yeah.
Like, Vrabel allows him to fail in spots. When I watch him, I don't see a guy, or I don't feel like he's being handicapped, he's having some success, but I see a guy that's out there trying to get it. And they've already taken the training wheel off of him.
Somebody said to me earlier today. Sorry to interrupt. Somebody said earlier today. I wanted your thoughts on this. Aaron Glenn got his first win, and you and I are Aaron Glenn fans.
Jets.
Happy for him. Didn't expect it, but happy for him to do that. Had to come back from doing it to do it. Offense looked really good. I know he's an Ohio State guy, but I was really happy for Justin Fields. I really was, because he shared an awful lot after the game. In case people missed it, he shared about how challenging it's been, how difficult it's been when you have an owner who does and says as stupid things as Woody Johnson said about his quarterback. I was really happy for Justin Fields. Doesn't mean I think he's a Pro Bowler. I just really happy for him. But you and I were talking earlier. The Myles Garrett situation is an interesting one. 5 sacks in Cleveland's loss. They lose by 19. He's the first player in history to have that many sacks and lose by more than 3 points in the game in which he had those sacks. And I couldn't help but wonder, and I think he's a great player, but I couldn't help but wonder, man, in February, you were calling for a trade. You wanted out.
Yeah.
And anytime I watch Cleveland play, I think of this guy because he had some really challenging years there. He could have left. Is it money? If he wants to win, why did he stay in Cleveland? Help me with that.
Well, he's still under contract, and one thing about the NFL, they're not going to do you any favors. The NBA and other sports will still do favors, show love, put you in positions to be able to continuously get that bag. NFL is not so much. So if Myles Garrett, would have put the pressure on those guys this year, which he did initially, to get traded, they're not going to trade him, then what am I going to play with no contract and then hope to get to the end of the year, and then I put my work out there on the field and somebody picks me up. Somebody says, "Oh, we need that talent on that team." What if you get injured? What does that contract look like if Myles Garrett would have played this year, not signed a redeal, tore his ACL, broke his leg, did something crazy at the beginning? What does that contract look like in the offseason? So it's a tough situation, and also too, what do we always say? A guy is holding out. A guy is on his contract but still has a year left and he wants more money. Oh, why is this guy holding out? This guy is being selfish. This guy is being that. So I think some of that gets into your ear. And then when you offer that type of money, we can figure it out.
Yeah.
We can figure it out for that type of money.
But he shouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
The way that organization is run, he shouldn't be surprised.
You're never going to achieve anything with playing for the Cleveland Browns. Until they completely change who they are, you're not going to win championships.
It's amazing how some franchises are like that. We lived with one, right? 100%. I mean, the Lions had been like that.
Yeah.
And in a business,
like that now.
Yeah, the Raiders are like that now, and they didn't used to be that way. It's amazing to me how business people who make billions of dollars seem to fall into the same trap, doing the same stupid thing with their sports teams over and over and over again.
Sport still gets put in that weird space sometimes where the individuals that own these teams are business minded. They own companies, they're CEOs, they're this, that, and the third. They look at the business. They look at football like a business. They look at sports like a business. They're not looking at it like a Jerry Jones when he was in his right mind as boots on ground. This is what I want to do. This is what we have to do. We have to bring this in, this player in. We have to bring this in excitement. We have to add this. We need this coach. Boots on ground. They're not like that. They're just sitting back and
it's the Jerry Buss, right? When Jerry Buss first bought the Lakers, what did he wanted?
He had a vision.
He had a vision.
And
Jerry Jones, for as much as I like him, had a vision. But that vision included big business deals.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, the NFL's with Coke. We're going with Pepsi. Oh my gosh, the NFL is in bed with this partner. We're going with Nike. We're doing something different than everybody else. Dare me to change. And for some reason or another, maybe it's the copycat fear. Other owners don't want to do that. They don't look around their league. For as good as some teams are run, and a copycat league that so many sports can be, they don't look around their league and say, what are they doing that we're not? And implement it.
Because a lot of owners, when they buy the team, this isn't the passion. This is a tax write-off, or this is just big business, or this is a hobby. I've always wanted to own a team, and now I put myself in a space where I have X amount of billions. I can buy a team. They could care less. Because what their job is, they're like, I own the team. Who am I paying? Who's going to be the coach? Okay, pay him that. I paid the coach. I paid the coordinators. Who do you want me to draft? How much I got to pay him? I'm going to do that. In their mind, it's done. Mm-hmm. It's like, shoot, I hired the coach. I hired the coaches. I drafted the players. I paid who you told me to. You guys figure it out. My job is to, whatever island I'm going to be on or whatever my business endeavors take me the week, my job is to do that. You figure this out. And then when I come to the games on Sunday with my entourage and in my jet and the G5 and all, well, plane's much bigger than G5. Yeah. But when I come to the game, you present me with a product that's going to win. It's not like that. Yeah. You got to be boots on ground. You got to be in the meetings. You have to know the talent. You have to know, like Sheila Hamm, when she made a decision, she's been boots on ground. When I say that, she's been in the meetings. She's heard the press. She's done research. She's sat with the coaches. She's sat with the players. Like, she taught herself. And she had people teach her on what was expected from this position. What can I do in this position? How can I get better in this position? What do I need to know to be an owner?
I love that. She's willing to ask questions.
And now look at her team.
Yeah. And she's willing to say, I don't know it all.
And now look at her squad.
Yeah. And you know what? I think, like owners, athletic directors need to do the same thing when they're hiring. Oh, I've said this forever. I mean, and I don't say this just because Braylon's, my partner. I say this in all honesty. If I'm the athletic director, I'm bringing in a core group of guys who follow the sport and who can speak from a student-athlete standpoint and bring them in for part of the conversation, the interviewing process with a coach. Yeah. You're going to ask different questions than an athletic director is going to ask. Yeah. You pick whoever, okay? Pick some other former players, whether it be Desmond Howard, who's in the media and watches a lot of college football, John Jansen, who calls Michigan football and watches a lot of football. What would be the harm in bringing Brian Greasy? Right. What would be the harm of bringing them in and having them part of the interview process? Not that I'm going to use whoever you say, whatever Braylon says, I'm going to do it, right? Yeah. But just to get a different perspective, I think is really important.
Agree, but it's the ego. At the end of the day,
I know it is. Yeah.
Athletic directors have put themselves in position now where it's like they are the guys.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have a head coach that is Jim Harbaugh, is Nick Saban, that is we don't even have any left. Georgia, Kirby Smart. Like, unless you have one of those, the guy is AD.
Yeah.
Because the AD is hiring your football coach. He's hiring your basketball coach. He's having the conversation with the brands and the sponsors and all that stuff. He puts himself in a position to where when you look at national championships, well, the AD, a lot of times, unless you have those, he's the guy you think about.
Yeah.
Now, he's the guy you think about, and that's what ADs want. They don't want you to come in the room and muddy up the waters, and now you have to say, well, Braylon helped me pick this, or Braylon was in the room when we picked such and such. Because now Braylon gets a little bit of credit, whether it's a 10th or whatever. Braylon gets credit. They want all the credit. I hired Harbaugh. I hired Juwan Howard. I mean, nobody's bragging about that now. I hired Dusty. well, after year one, it looked good. Yeah. But I hired Dusty May.
Yeah.
I was the one that said, all right, Red Baronson's out. Insert.
Yeah,
like, that's what they
Mel
want.
Pearson that didn't work out. Yeah. To your point, Scott Woodward is a pretty good example of that. Now, if I said that name, a lot of people would be like, who the hell is that? He's the athletic director at LSU. And they're probably going, oh, my gosh, he hired Brian Kelly. Well, then he should be on the hot seat. He also hired Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M and allowed the $70 million buyout. Yeah. The Brian Kelly buyout is roughly $54 million. Think about that. He's responsible for two men with almost $120 million worth of money for those two schools combined.
I would say he doesn't know what he's doing. I would stop.
It sure seems like that, doesn't it?
100%. 100%.
Like if you miss on a coach, that's one thing, but missing on the financial package of things, that's dangerous too.
And doing it back to back.
And back-to-back at different schools, but still.
True, but like big institutions.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee Texas A&M, and I guarantee when he leaves now, he's out of LSU, both those ADs have a conversation like, man, why you ain't tell me? Well, why you ain't tell me?
Yeah, and he didn't bring Mike Elko in. Mike Elko came in after he was gone from Texas A&M. Now you're going to give him the responsibility of hiring another coach after that type of, I know it might be a small track record, and I know he's hired other coaches. He's hired baseball coaches that's helped him win a national championship, track coaches that done. But still, we all know where a big school's bread is buttered. It's football. That's the most important. Go ahead and brag about the other national championships. I would too if I'm athletic director. But deep down inside, if I want to make money and if I want to bring people in and I want to bring businesses in and NIL money in, I need a really good football program.
Take yourself back to that to the pep rally that they had, and imagine that you're on the body that hired Brian Kelly, and you're sitting in an auditorium, or maybe you weren't there, maybe you're watching from afar, and you hear him with the fake accent. I know everybody had to be like, damn, we hired the wrong one. Like, cause something like that, even though it's funny, it's cute, it really isn't. And when you see somebody fake an accent to who they've been for 40 years in the coaching landscape, I didn't hire Brian Kelly for this.
I know.
And he does that.
Or the dance.
You instantly knew.
Yeah, the dance. Hold on.
I forgot about that.
So stupid,
Like,
right?
There's one thing to be authentic. There's another thing to be cringy.
Oh. But we've seen it just not in sports. We've seen it in politics where people are changing their accents all the time. And I look at them and go, who buys this stuff? But Brian Kelly's on stage.
Yeah.
And somebody, he's an older dude.
So
I don't know why you feel like I've got to be next to Braylon and do some type of dance. Can't I just give it to the player? Why do I have to be out there, right? And they say to you, hey, do me a favor. Pretend like you're dancing to this song. And he does John Travolta in Pulp Fiction, and not a good look.
But there's also, too, that's the landscape that the older coaches find themselves in, trying to figure out and dive through it. Like, do I still have – because, I mean, you don't have to do this stuff per se, but a lot of the coaches do. A lot of institutions do. A lot of you looking to connect with these younger players, they tend to do that. But the Brian Kelly situation was – you can tell first time you see someone, well – unless you weren't from Detroit and you saw Dan Campbell, you were like, wait, this guy's going to be terrible. Joke's on you.
Yeah.
But you can tell the energy, though, because I remember watching the Brian Kelly. I said, he's not going to have success. I said, it's just not going to work. Like, I thought he would before I saw that. And this fake accent, meanwhile, first time I saw Jim Tressel at his pep rally down at Ohio State.
At a basketball game.
At the basketball game in January, February. They had just hired him. And legitimately, at the end of that conversation, he said, oh, don't worry. We will beat that team up north.
You'll be happy with your team in 365 days. Yeah.
There we go. That right there, I was like, oh, shoot. I was like, because they got a guy that understands it. That's why the other guy got fired.
Yeah.
It's like, that could bring players together. And
better get that early.
And boy, did it ever. Outside of the situation in 2010-11, he's still there. But I could watch that because I was still a senior in high school. I'm watching like, yeah, it's gonna be interesting for 4 years. But you felt that energy through the TV. It was because it was authentic.
Hey, you know, Bray, that just got me thinking when I saw Shep doing the dancing and everything. Because this one's a different case.
Get that out of your mind. It's a bad look.
Listen, this isn't a coach trying to make a name for himself. This was Brian Kelly. What do you do, Bray, if it's one of those coaches walking into your living room? One of the ones with the name walking into your living room, and they're the ones, and they're at recruiting parties and such, and they're the ones doing this dance. What do you do when it's one of those guys, bro?
If I'm a parent, then I realize, but you know what? It's a great question. If I'm a parent, then I realize, you know what? This era has passed him by. Like if you have to do things where this isn't who you are, it looks awkward, it's not who you are, then I'm not going there because this coach doesn't understand his new landscape. I feel bad for him, but I'm not about to let my son go up there and get ruined. Like I'm just not. So I'm gonna send him somewhere else with somebody that can connect. Because if you have to do cringy things in order to stay, it was cringy. The whole thing is cringy.
I'm just sitting here like, bro, awful. Just like I'm like, yo.
Only reason
Brian
he didn't get fired earlier is because he beat Alabama year one.
I think you're right.
He beat Nick Saban year one.
Yeah.
That's what Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
That's why, and he had Jaden Daniels. Good call.
Yeah.
Oh, great call.
And that's all.
And Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr.
Yeah. Which look. I mean, part of coaching is recruiting, and I get it. It's funny how sometimes in an argument we'll say, yeah, but he won with his players. Or if you lose, it's like, oh, my God, you've got somebody else's players. You know, you still have to coach them. You still have to put them in the – it's great that they have that much talent, and it's great that you inherited them. You still have to get them to perform. They still have to buy into who you are. Sometimes I think it'd be more difficult to coach another coach's recruits, okay, because he's not him. My bigger problem with Brian Kelly is he's coming off, how many years at Notre Dame? How many years did he spend at Notre Dame?
10?
12? 10? Okay. And he won a lot. He was 113-40 at Notre Dame. And he chose to leave because he felt like, how do I win a national championship? I got to go to an SEC school. Okay. I don't think he's alone in that regard. However, go ahead.
No, I was going to say black and white. He basically meant I got to go cheat.
There you go. Right.
And then all of a sudden NIL becomes legal.
Even with the ironic part of that is that he took Notre Dame to a national championship. I mean, they got piss pounded, but he took them there. The interesting thing is, like Kool-Aid says, he was established. You don't have to reinvent yourself. This is who I am. This is who you hired me. You know, what do I have to reestablish myself for? Just the reason you hired me is because I'm a good coach. And he is. He's a good coach. I don't like the inauthentic bullcrap that he pulled when he first arrived at LSU in 2022 either. Yeah. But he's a good football coach, and it's hard to argue that he's not a likable football coach.
No.
And there is a difference, don't you think? A likable football coach?
Yeah.
You don't win at Grand Valley, where you won, I think, 2 national championships. I know it's D2, but they're still football players. You still got to go get them, all right? Still got to beat some good teams. You don't win at Central Michigan. You don't win at Cincinnati and go undefeated, and then win at Notre Dame and have that type of winning percentage if you don't know what the hell you're doing. I used to make that argument all the time. So a lot of my friends who are Spartans, they'll say, Jim Harbaugh is not that good of a coach. I said, hey, hold on a second. You may not like him, and that's okay, because he's a different cat. You don't take a team to a Super Bowl. You don't go to an NFC championship game on top of that and be a bad coach. You don't win at Stanford. You don't win at San Diego. Sorry, you're a good football coach.
Yeah, Michigan State, too, you bring that up. They're replacing – who's the best Michigan State coach of all time?
Mark D'Antonio.
And that's who they're replacing.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of the elephant in the room in that situation. Like, it's tough. Just look at Michigan. Mm-hmm. Like, Michigan's replacing Lloyd Carr. And here's a panic situation. Shoot, all right, let's do something new. Let's go get that guy down there in West Virginia who's doing all the spread offense. He's got these running quarterbacks. Let's do that cool stuff. Mm-hmm. They were on to something. Just not necessarily maybe the right situation, but they were on to something. And then you go from that. Now it's like, well, that didn't work. Now what do I got to do? I got to go somewhere that looks like home. Insert Brady Hoke. You bring Brady Hoke home. Love Brady. He's not the right guy for the job. And then you get Jim Harbaugh. Then you have to wait that process out. Right. 7 years. So Michigan knows what it is when you replace one of those guys. Replacing Coach D, I hear how the players talk about Coach D. Like, when I was up there at the Ronald McDonald House, a couple of those players like Jalen Watts-Jackson, the infamous trouble with the snap, he was talking about Coach D. Javon Ringer was up there talking about Coach D. The way in which they feel about him, that's more than just a coach.
That's how you feel about your coach.
But it's an identity.
Yeah.
Like for 10 or so years, 30, however long Coach D was there, 12 years or so, the identity in East Lansing, this is Coach D. It wasn't Michigan State.
You're right.
It's Coach D. So I think it's going to take them a while. It's tough. Like you go through your fair share of frogs when you finish with a legend.
I would remind people before they get too judgmental about certain coaches, wherever it may be, Mark D'Antonio is the best coach in Michigan State history. Yeah. He was 1 game above 500 at Cincinnati. He spent 3 years with the Bearcats, and he was 18-17. Yeah. And when Michigan State had a press conference, said our new head coach is Mark D'Antonio, I would venture to guess most Michigan State fans did not know who he was. And when they looked at his resume, they're like, what? What are we doing? Are you serious? And in the end, they're pretty happy about it. I think there was a lot of pushback from when people at Michigan elevated Lloyd Carr.
Oh, 100%. Because G. Moeller was the guy.
Yeah.
Gary was the guy. Lloyd was just secondary guy.
Yeah.
If you will.
And I loved Gary Moeller.
Yeah.
I thought he got a bad deal. I thought he was a really good coach. And when he came to the Lions, I remember Stephen Boyd, who was a linebacker, played at BC, was a hell of a linebacker with the Lions, told me he's one of the best coaches I've ever had.
Yeah.
Bar none. And he would run through a wall for him. But there's certain reputations, as we've talked about.
He had that feel. Remember, like, old school coaches, like, they had that old school feel, like the Bo, like the Lloyd, the Lou Holtz, the Bobby Bowell, and the Patern. Like, he had that.
Bear Bryant,
and we did a deal where it was all the living Michigan coaches. This would have been my second year at Michigan, so it was like sophomore year, sophomore summer, maybe going into junior year, or junior going senior anyway. Like, all the coaches spoke at Cliff King. So Bump was still, Bump was with us. It was Lloyd. It was Bo was still there. Bo died in 2006. So Bo was still there. Moeller was still there. But when Moeller got to talk, they hadn't seen Moeller in Michigan a very long time. So everybody was welcoming. When he spoke, I was like, oh, yeah, I ran through a wall for this dude.
Yeah, absolutely.
What?
He absolutely would. He was one of the really – I was fortunate. I covered him while he was on the Lions staff. And they gave him an interim head coaching job.
Yeah.
And I thought it was a mistake by Matt Millen that he didn't keep him. I thought that was his first mistake because the players played hard for him and they really respected him. But I remember asking him, I was fortunate I got a one-on-one with him after his press conference, and I said to him, I said, what is it you learned as a head coach at Michigan that you had to adjust from being promoted from D.C. to head coach that you can now take with you to the Lions? And he said, it's a really good question. He said, I have to be able to relinquish more control because offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators are, correct me if you think I'm wrong here, maniacal. I mean, they're in control of everything.
Yeah.
Head coaches got so many different things to do. You've got to let your coordinators be coaches.
Yeah.
And if you're a coordinator and get bumped up, it's hard to let some of that, lack of a better word, power and decision-making go.
Oh, 100%. But that's where you see the head coaches that go from being really good coordinators or great, dare I say, coordinators to struggling at the head coaching position because they have to learn how to micromanage because you're no longer really – that's not your thing. Like, you can get back to it, Sean McVay, Sean Payton, Kevin O'Connell. There's some guys that do it, Andy Reid. Mm-hmm. But it takes a second to be able to understand both. Like, you can't just go out there and be a great coordinator and then all of a sudden be a great coach and coordinator.
It's a good point.
You got to learn a little bit.
You notice all those guys he just mentioned, offensive-minded guys, number one, but number two, all calling the plays.
Yeah.
All still calling the plays for their team. So it's hard to relinquish that type of responsibility. Speaking of really good assistant coaches or coordinators, we're going to get into a rumor about one of them when we come back. But first, this from Smoothie King, who always gives us the Braylon Edwards Smoothie King High School Player of the Week later in the week. This week was outstanding, and I'm sure you followed and found out how Clio High School did.
100%, 5-0. Nate, they now are. I love the partnership that we have with Smoothie King. Love bringing these young men and women on Fridays, getting their story and diving into what they do. Recovery is where winners are made, and Smoothie King has the clean ingredients, real fruit, and protein to help you as well as myself refuel and come back even stronger. If you want to nominate somebody for High School Athlete of the Week, all you do is scan this QR code above my head. Make sure they have the goods to receive the goods. Nominate Detroit High School Athlete today. As a special shout out to the Lee Foundation for making this possible. Lee helps provide student athletes with the tools to excel, reach their academic athletic goals, and impact the community. And that's what we are ultimately about. It's about impacting the community in the field of education and the field of athletics. Most importantly, got to make sure that nutrition is up to date.
Hey, Sharon's Heating, Air Conditioning, always there to serve you and help your home. Now is the time to call them because you don't want to be stuck without your furnace. You don't want to be stuck without your heating. You want to make sure that your whole home generator is working during this time of the year. I know it's a beautiful day today, but the cold is coming and you can feel it, and you can feel it at night too. So right now, Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning allows DTE gas customers to get a free furnace tune-up through December 1st. And whether you are a DTE Energy subscriber or not, bottom line is, if you need heating, if you need cooling, if you need indoor air quality, if you need a water heater, and we all do, right? If you need an in-home generator, if you need any of that, Sharon's Heating and Air Conditioning is the place to go. They've been doing it for well over 40 years, taking care of you and your neighbors like your family. Scan that QR code or call them today, 734-238-3839, and tell them the Braylon Edwards Show sent you.
Haircuts for men, and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Looking for your daily sports fix? Look no further. Join Braylon Edwards, the University of Michigan legend.
Lofting it right corner of the end zone for Braylon, up in the air. Touchdown, Michigan!
And Shep.
Do you believe this comeback?
Your favorite sports commentator as they tackle the hottest topics in the world of sports. Catch the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep, Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Get ready to laugh, learn, and love sports like never before.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
You know him as Dr. Jeff Pierce, the injury insider here for Woodward Sports and all things University of Michigan, as well as the Lions and the Tigers and Bears. Oh my, he does it all. And guess what? He's been doing it for a very long time. You think about the 4 Stanley Cups that D-Mac has. Guess what? Your boy was there for every single one of them. Now he's at Michigan Sports and Spine and want to make sure he gives all the proper diagnosis to you. He and his team will get you back together and get you back to life. Scan the QR code above my head or call 248-426-9944. Also, he is with Athletes Unlimited Live. Athletes Unlimited is a Michigan-based nonprofit, has one simple mission: breaking down the barriers so everyone can experience the joys of sports. If you want to come out to the November 6th Top Golf event and get a free bay, all you got to do is, everybody loves how Dan Campbell is at the end of games. Do your best Dan Campbell impersonation after a win. Give the locker room pep talk as you talk about players of the game. 45 seconds. Send it into Kool-Aid at woodwardsports.com. Again, that's Koolaid. Send it to woodwardsports.com for Kool-Aid, and we'll make a decision. We'll get you in the game. You get yourself a free bay next. Actually, it's this Friday. We'll be picking the winner.
Can't wait to see that. That's going to be some good stuff, man.
Show.
Yeah, we should put some of those up on the show.
Definitely going.
That's going to be fantastic. You don't necessarily have to look like him, but you got to sound like him. You got to have the high energy, right? Yeah, it's tough to do both. So we went to a lot of tailgates on Saturday. My wife brought banana bread with chocolate chips in it and brownies. I brought Buddy's Pizza. Now, I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I did win. Although her brownies are pretty good, as you guys can attest. I'm going to admit it. Yes. I did eat a lot of the pizza. But it's the thought that counts, I hope. And Buddy's Pizza, the original home-style, Detroit home-style pizza, you can't go wrong. They've been doing it since 1946, serving it at their 22 locations throughout the state of Michigan. If you need to find a location, go to buddyspizza.com. And right now, do what I did. 10% off your entire order by using 10MEAL. Use that promo code 10MEAL, and you'll get 10% off Buddy's Pizza and buddyspizza.com.
And we back.
Yeah, thanks a lot for joining us in the chat. We really appreciate it. We smash that like button, as Kool-Aid likes to say.
Hey.
And we would ask you to, express anything that you choose, any things that we've talked about, or maybe something that we haven't talked about. Kool-Aid will make sure that we get that on. And he'll also give us any breaking news that may happen, like an NFL trade. We'll get to that here in a minute.
Yeah, definitely. Just one super chat that did pop up here. Sideless, know that's Burn actually in the chat. $5. Thank you for the super chat and support. He says, you reminded me of when Dan Campbell became the interim head coach of the Dolphins. I bet the Dolphins are kicking themselves for letting him go.
Yeah. Well,
that's tough.
Did we have that picture up last week when we were talking about it?
Yeah.
He was on that staff. Ben Johnson was on that staff. Wow. And there was one other well-known coach now who was on that staff. And his
Dolphins staff?
Huh?
The Dolphins?
Yeah, the Dolphins.
Remember, like 2017?
Yeah, his name escapes me now. Gosh darn it, we had just talked about it last week. But yeah, the Dolphins could have had any of them and chose not to. I mean, it's easy to sit back and say, why wouldn't you have done that? But
is it Liam Cohen? Is it
Zach Taylor was on there.
It wasn't Zach Taylor. I think it was
Flores. Broder in the chat said Flores.
Yeah, it might have been Brian
Broder
Flores.
to the rescue. What's up, B?
Thank you, B. Appreciate you very much.
Broder.
He must be a Michigan grad. No,
he must be. Yep. And
pitcher.
Yeah. You got the Dodgers. You got the Blue Jays, Broder. Anyway, good stuff. Real quick. Rams acquired Roger McCreary from the Titans for a draft pick. So he's at the end of his contract, which is fine. You're shoring something up. Do you anticipate the Lions making a move? November 4 is the trade deadline. Do you anticipate the Lions making a move?
No.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
I do not. I don't even play this song and dance this year. I do not anticipate them making moves because they don't.
No hesitation.
The only reason why they made moves last year is because Aiden Hutchinson was hurt, so they went out and they got Zadarius Smith. I don't expect them to make it. They have told us at every step of the way, whether it was January, February, March, April, May, season.
Yeah.
We like the guys we have. We're good where we at. Like, especially if you're the Detroit Lions and you watch the performance. This is how they operate. They're going to watch this performance that they had against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oh, man, we're good. Like, we like our defensive line. We like our offensive line. We'll shore it up here or there. Secondary, we'll get some guys back, but at least look at the depth that we have.
Right. Tyrus Wheat.
100%. Here's Whiteside on this play. So I think they won't make a move. They like where they're at, and you just have to accept that and rock and roll.
That's interesting. How do you think that would be received by the fan base?
Not good.
Not good? I don't think it would matter if they're winning.
I don't think it matters to the fan base right now.
I don't either.
Because I think they spent the beginning of the season going into the season, and then after the first game, we got to get a guy. 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 And then you look up, and you're 5-2. You're second in the division, second in the NFC. You like where you're at. You believe in the offense. The coordinators have put their mark on this team. I don't think the fan base would care as much.
I think you're right.
Yeah,
because they're going to beat Minnesota.
100%.
They're going to beat Washington, especially if
100%.
Jaden Daniels isn't.
Yeah.
Then you got to go to
with
Philadelphia.
Jaden.
And by the way, so that trade deadline is
matter
after
of
the
fact,
Minnesota
Shep.
game, as we can all do, because Friday's Halloween. Okay, we'll have a really fun show on Friday.
You dressing up?
Well, this is ugly enough for people. So my guess is you'd have to, obviously you have to do it after the Minnesota game. They're going to be 6-2, and to Braylon's point, they have gone and they've signed guys off practice squads. I mentioned Tyrus Wheat. They've proven that they've got some guys who can come in and do the job that they feel comfortable with.
Yeah.
Is it good enough to beat certain teams? That's a good question. Ryan and I were discussing this. If I asked you the 5 teams today who are better or at least a threat to the Lions in the NFL, not the NFC, but the NFL, who would those 5 teams be? And they don't have to necessarily be in order. Who would the 5 teams be that you think threaten
just the NFL or the NFC?
Just the NFL, the National Football League.
NFL.
Now, in fairness to Braylon, he has said for 3 to 4 weeks, Kansas City.
Like, for sure.
He's been bully on Kansas City. Where I jumped off and I picked the Chargers before, idiot, he has said Kansas City. So I would guess Kansas City's in that discussion for you.
Yeah, I'd say there's only 2 teams in the AFC.
Okay.
Because I'm still not buying the Broncos. I'm not buying them to hear me out. I'm buying them in the sense of being a playoff team.
Okay.
I'm buying them that they're a good team.
Okay.
They're well coached. May not like him, but he can coach.
Yeah.
Understood?
Yeah.
I buy that aspect. In terms of being the Lions, no way, Jose. Give me the Indianapolis Colts and give me the Kansas City Chiefs out of the AFC. That is it. No other teams in the AFC. As it relates to the NFC.
So not New England, just so I'm clear. Okay.
New England's like Drake May is really good. Drake May is going to be special. The people in Foxborough, I know you guys like, whew, we finally got us one. You do.
Yeah.
You guys are still some players away from actually beating the Lions in the playoff team, from really contending from second to conference champion to Super Bowl.
Thank you.
100%. They're
Thank
not
you.
there
Because
yet.
we didn't say playoff teams.
Yeah, 100%.
We didn't say who you're impressed with, because you are impressed with New
I am.
England. We said that can
Lions.
win it all. Yeah, right.
Yeah,
But,
100%.
okay.
So
So you got 2 in the AFC.
I like the Colts, like Jonathan Taylor, what he's doing. Like, finally,
God.
finally, a running back from Wisconsin
So good.
has taken the Wisconsin game and put it in the NFL. Kudos to you, because they got a long list of 2,000-yard rushers and a long list of guys that didn't do it in the NFL. So
Right.
kudos to you.
Yeah.
Those 2. NFC, Los Angeles Rams, Green Bay Packers. I still don't like the Eagles.
Wow.
Like, I will not put
Well,
the
you've
Eagles.
said that for about
I
3
don't.
weeks, too.
Those are the 4 teams.
Okay, so you've only got 4. You
I got
didn't
4.
mention Seattle either,
No,
which is
'cause I don't-
interesting.
No.
Okay, you're one of your old teams.
No.
Kool-Aid, give me the 5, if you can name 5.
Because I'm thinking of actually beating. I'm not thinking about a team that
I get it.
I don't think about a team that can give you a good game.
Yeah.
There's about 7 teams that give the Lions, maybe 8.
Yeah.
Give the Lions
Yeah.
a good game. But to actually, that I think can finish the deal, Not Seattle, not the 49ers.
Okay, but what about the Bucs? Because you and I have been on the Bucs bandwagon since before the season even began. Because I'm still in that camp.
I still love the Bucs. I do. I still love Baker and what he's doing. Those injuries, I'm looking at them like I looked at the Lions last year.
Sure.
Those injuries are going to catch up with them.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, I think they found something in that game against Baker. They unlocked something defensively into how to bother him and how to worry him.
Okay.
I no longer worry about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because I think Big Liam in the middle, like it pushes Baker out of the pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's a clip.
Like he can't do all the sexy, cute things he does that gets those yards. I don't think that was just Mike Evans being hurt and Mekabuka having not a good game because he was also kind of dinged up and Chris Godwin not being there. I think that was something the Lions discovered about Baker's game. So I take them off. It's those 4 teams.
Okay, 4 teams.
Yeah, for me, it's the championship pedigree teams. It's the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC, and in the NFC, it is the Eagles, and it is the Rams. I think when you get to the playoffs sometimes, those types of teams are the squads that just, I don't know, they have that extra gear. They understand how to give that, like what it takes to get there. And so I don't know. Those are the teams to me that I'm not worried about, but those are the ones that I do believe, like the criteria of can they beat the Lions? Those are the ones I think,
The Rams are a special team because we already know what they're going to be on offense. Like, legitimately, 1 year after the Super Bowl, when F those picks, Les Snead, the whole 9 yard, and it kind of went off the rails, quarterback was hurt, a bunch of people were hurt, took them a second, they figured it out. And once they figured it out, that offense is rocking and rolling. That offense has more than enough. The offense is elite, especially when you know who plays. It was the defensive side of the ball. How do you react losing Aaron Donald? Well, 3 first-round draft picks in a row. Now, those draft picks are playing at a high level. Gerard Verse will be Defensive Player of the Year within the next 3-4 seasons. Promise you that.
Man, I want him
and then they're just continuing to go out, getting another DB. 2 weeks ago, we watched that game again when they lost to the Rams, and we said this is a damn good team. But that secondary is going to get them beat. They know that too. They saw that too, and they've gotten better, and they added a player.
And they've got a quarterback who can absolutely spin it, even at age 37, with 2 dynamic wide receivers and 2 tight ends that can get in there and make them play
and 2
too.
running backs. One had a couple fumbles early in the year. Actually, both did. I think they've shored that up. One's the physical guy, Blake Corum, and then you know what Kyron Williams is. So
you named 4. Kool-Aid named only 3. That's interesting. You done, or you got another one? I don't want to cut you off.
I mean, no, it's just those squads that have that championship pedigree to me that I'm really concerned about.
Yeah, but you didn't say Philadelphia, did you?
You did. I said Eagles.
I'm sorry. Okay,
Yeah.
Ryan, how about you?
I would go Rams, Chiefs, and I mean you have to put the Eagles in there. They haven't won, or they won the Super Bowl.
That's fair.
I mean I like Devontae Smith. He helps my fantasy football team out pretty well. Just had to put that in there.
Back to fantasy.
Should have seen Shep's face. Look at Shep.
It always comes back to fantasy football. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it?
Fail.
I'm 6-2 now. I'm just saying.
I just lost last weekend. I'm just saying.
I was so pissed because legitimately, I had Matt Stafford. I have Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson, my starter. He got dinged up. Took him out.
Sure.
Doing well with Stafford. Then Lamar said they said he was going to play this week. So I said, cool, I'm fine. Find out the night before he's out. So I had to go hire Joe Flacco, which means I had to get rid of my kicker, who was Jake Bates, because I had picked up McPherson, from Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Long story short, I picked up Joe Flacco and got myself a win this week barely because I have
Now, that's being a good general manager.
Tucker Kraft.
He is so good.
Thank you for your services, sir.
Yeah, he is.
Bray, can you help out the Tigers?
He is Trey McBride.
That's the one thing about the Green Bay Packers. They balled out, but they're definitely a threat.
For sure.
For sure.
You picked him to win the division.
I did. One thing I like about help, though, for the Lions, you put 2-man bracket on Tucker Kraft and spy him. They don't have the number 1 wide receiver right now to beat you. Romeo Doubs is his favorite target. But Romeo's not a Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's not a number 1 wideout to where you fear. Yeah. They're still trying to figure Golden out. They got Christian back. Now, he looked good. But you take Tucker out. Because who didn't run the ball well yesterday?
Yeah.
Who hasn't necessarily run the ball well this season?
I'm more impressed with their defense probably than anything else.
Now, that defense, I got nothing to say about that.
Yeah.
That was
pretty impressive stuff.
Are they the best 1-2 punch? Rashawn and Micah.
Ooh.
Well, Houston. Yeah, probably they are. They're probably the best 1-2 punch. Yeah,
Well, that was a letdown this week. San Francisco.
Yeah, big time. That's interesting. Okay, so Ryan, you had.
And then I'd put the Packers in there, but I didn't want to steal your thunder. So
No, that's a good. Thunder steal away. For me, absolutely the Packers. I'm a big believer in respecting what somebody has done, but people always talk about the eye test, which is one of those phrases I hate because I always say, whose eyes? His eyes watching football are a hell of a lot better than my eyes watching football. But watching Philadelphia does not look comfortable to me right now, although they looked really impressive yesterday without A.J. Brown, who stinks on my fantasy team. But I would say Green Bay, Tampa, and the Rams in the NFC. I'm not going with Kansas City. Now, I know that's controversial, but they still have to play Denver a couple of times. That'll be interesting. It's not that I'm buying into Denver.
Yeah.
And I'm not buying into Buffalo either because Buffalo's defense stinks.
Yeah.
But at some I mean, there's something going on there.
Yeah.
At some point, we have to look at Indianapolis and say, you know what? At 7-1, and the way they're beating teams, running the ball, taking care of the football when you're throwing the ball, not trying to do too much, punching you in the mouth defensively, I respect the hell out of that. Those would be my teams right now, as of right now. So the Rams, the Packers, I still believe in the Bucs, although the injuries that Braylon has brought up is a solid point, and Indianapolis. I think the AFC is relatively weak. I like what New England's doing. I remember before the season I said Matt Vrabel's going to be coach of the year.
Yeah.
Now, he's not going to be. Shane Steichen is with Indianapolis, but Matt Vrabel's going to be in the discussion. They've been really good. Cool.
Now, and your pick of the Packers, and I know Ryan is, believing in them somewhat. I see the chat is a little bit split. Some people believe they're almost like another NFC version of the Dallas Cowboys. So have some pretty regular season, but the postseason they're probably gonna flame out. I see our guy Broder who don't believe in them, but we got Dana O'Shana in the chat who says that he believes the Packers are a problem too. I only see them losing on Thanksgiving, and that's about it. Maybe the Eagles can beat them. So it's pretty even split as it relates to what the chat family is believing about the Packers and their threat to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I think it's dangerous, and I did it too, so I'm not saying they're wrong. It's dangerous to try and play that schedule game moving forward because, you don't know always what teams are going to look like.
What's going to happen.
Right. Who would have thought, certain injuries would have, derailed some teams. But, Green Bay, you still got to go to Denver, and that defense is really flipping good.
Yeah.
You still have to, at the end of the season, who knows what you're going to be doing against Minnesota. You got to play Philadelphia, and you got to play Detroit. But that Denver game is standing pretty tough. That Denver team's pretty impressive. I'm not sold per se on Bo Nix yet. I think he's been a good player. But I wouldn't say that he's a guy going into a Super Bowl or getting his team on the chance of getting to a Super Bowl would make me go, yeah, I believe he's going to get it done.
I absolutely agree, 100%. As it relates to the Colts, I look at it like this because I understand, they're just like the Cowboys. It's going to be a regular season thing, whatever.
Yeah.
They don't have the same distractions that the Cowboys do. They don't have the same selfishness that the Cowboys do. They don't have all the things that take the Cowboys from, they're rolling. Here's a bump, and now that bump has derailed the whole ship and blown the ship up. They don't have that. At least that's not what it seems. They seem like they have a team that is bought in on both sides of the ball. They have a coach that is able to motivate them. You look at the games and line them up. First game of the year, they played the Dolphins. Dolphins suck, right? Well, they beat them 33-8. They played the Broncos. Broncos went to playoffs last year, and they look like they're a team to contend with the Chiefs. They beat them too. And then they beat the Titans, who are a bad team. Well, they blew them out twice. This is what you do with bad teams. This is what we talk about here in Detroit. They played the Rams. They played out in L.A. They lost by 7. This is a team that I think is top 3 in the league or top 4 in the league. So it is what it is. They played a sorry Raiders team. Guess what? They beat them by 34. Played a Cardinals team, had one of those games. In the NFL, you have some of those where you didn't get up for a team and you looked around and they still were there. They won the game. And then the Chargers, they beat them by 14, who was a divisional rival. So I think this team is legit. I think this team is real. And I think you need to stop looking at Daniel Jones as, that's Danny Dimes. No. This is a quarterback that's operating within the system. And when you operate within a system that has a running back like that, wide receivers and tight ends like that, offensive line to protect like that, dangerous.
Braylon, I say it all the time. It's really hard to change people's minds. You're convinced at what Danny Dimes is, okay? And I'm glad you brought up whatever coach with Sean Payton. You may not like Sean Payton. I don't like him either. I had a friend of mine Friday night say, I don't like Brian Kelly. Okay, you don't like him. Are they a good coach?
Yeah.
And most people would say yes.
For
and
sure.
I wouldn't like the way a guy like Sean Payton handled his situation, especially with Russell Wilson. He can do a mea culpa all he wants. Not many people are buying it because they know who he is, right? But, and it might be just a short-term thing in Denver, that dude knows how to win. And there's something to be said for that too. All right, really good stuff. When we come back, as I mentioned, speaking of coaches, there's a link to one Lions coach at a high-level job. Are you buying into that? We'll get to that when we come back after this from Les Stanford. Look at those cars. Aren't they good-looking? You better believe it. Every time we drive by one of those 2025 Hummers, my wife says to me, you know what? Have you thought about test driving that? I said, I got to talk to Braylon about that and see if I can get in there and test drive it at Les Stanford Buick GMC. And why wouldn't you? Their lease special right now is $599 a month plus tax. Or how about a Cadillac? You want to go in style, don't you? The Lyric SUV lease special, $489 a month. And for those saving a little money, the Equinox EV lease special is going on right now, $229 a month. Still a good-looking brand new ride, and it's at Les Stanford Buick GMC. Check out their massive inventory and check out their website, lesstanford.com.
And tell the people where they can get that car washed, Mr. Braylon Edwards.
Woodward Sports and Jack's Car Wash are partnered up to hook you up with a free car wash. How about you text WSN to 888-522-1729. Enjoy the top-tier service with the free vacuums, compressed air, to mat cleaning at select locations. Join the Unlimited Club and take full advantage of all the perks that I'm always up here talking about. Being a member. Watch at any of our 40 locations just twice a month, and then membership pays for itself. Upgrades for interior cleaning, detailing in 8 different locations across the great state of Michigan. Go to www.jackscarwash today.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
You know how some things are so good they should be world famous, but they're not? Our house-made vinaigrette is one of those things. And the antipasto salad, we drizzle it over. Same with our hand-battered chicken tenders. Original recipe soups and pasta sauces. It's almost as if our original, world-famous Detroit-style pizza is mocking them. And that's not very nice.
Injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon. Braylon Edwards and Shep Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you. No one gives away more cash and prizes than Woodward Sports. You don't believe us? Here's our latest $10,000 winner.
You know, you guys posted, hey, if you guess all this stuff right, we'll give it's $10,000. I'm like, okay, well, why the hell not?
And the winning doesn't stop there. How about our Outkick Your Coverage winner?
I think you won. We got Tully, everybody. This guy's got a hot girl.
Bigger prizes, bigger giveaways, cash, merch, tickets, and more. All from the biggest sports network in Detroit. No one does it bigger and better than Woodward Sports. Make sure you're following, liking, subscribing on Instagram, Facebook, X, and YouTube for your chances to share in the winning. from Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Is that an octopus in your pants, or are you just happy to see me? See what I did there? Go Red Wings! From Octopi Experts, Woodward Sports.
If you're looking for the ultimate pickleball experience, then definitely go ahead and check out Wicked Pickle. It is Metro Detroit's hottest indoor pickleball spot with 10 climate control courts, daily open play for all levels. I feel like they're just staring right at us, Ryan. And the chill lounge with TVs, ping pong, and cold drinks is always game on, rain or shine. Throwing a party or a team event that hosts groups from 10 to 200. Don't miss the APA Michigan Gold Cup, November 22nd through the 23rd. Sign up at pickleballtournaments.com or go ahead and scan that QR code that is on the screen right now. And also, be sure to mark your calendars for Woodward Sports' Pickleball Party, January 9th. More details are on the way.
And after you play pickleball, head on over to Massage Chair House to help yourself recover after playing pickleball. They have the largest massage chair showroom in the Midwest, located near the corner of Woodward and Long Lake Road. Experience luxury comfort with Dr. Eric Duncan, the Wellness Doc, and the creator of the top YouTube massage chair review channel. Book a visit at www.massagechairhouse.com or scan that QR code on your screen. Massage Chair House, your ticket to ultimate recovery and relaxation.
We back, and the people been hitting that like button.
Dear FBI, please,
that's how we started.
Please stop telling me who played in a poker game that was fixed. Please stop showing me these individuals that have hosted poker games that were fixed, and not give me the Epstein file. Because that's all we care about.
That's right.
Like, give me the Epstein file. Like, this is something that we have been trying to find. Who is on this list that's working in Pollard?
Yeah.
Like, who's on this list? Stop telling me that Antonio Gates hosted a game in Miami, and now there's some concern about what he was doing. Figure that out down on page like 11 or 12. What's going on with the Epstein file?
Yeah, be consistent, especially since that's
cares?
something you had promised before. Well, I think some people care. A guy lost $1.8 million probably cares.
Well, this is true, but I'm saying, like, it's just like this. You know, it's like these distractions. Or here's Antonio Gates, and
here's Kevin Garnett.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
Could LeBron James be part of it? Yeah, I want consistency, and I know that's hard. It's hard for us in life. It's hard in sports and all that other stuff. But I want some consistency. So I'm absolutely with you on that. Stop just give me all of it, I guess, maybe at once. But instead of just kind of filtering it out there. But yeah, the other thing's a hell of a lot more diabolical and disgusting than it would be in a poker game. Real quick question. There's a part of me that's almost rooting for the Colts because, not that I have anything against quarterbacks. I don't love them. But it'd be great to see a guy like Jonathan Taylor win the MVP. You know what I mean? I would like a little splash of something different. Of course, if it can't be Saquon Barkley last year, you're surprised that it wouldn't be, right? But, yeah, Jonathan Taylor would be kind of a fun guy to insert into that conversation because think about it. Yeah. Who were the guys going into the season? You're thinking Lamar Jackson. That's not going to happen. You're thinking Josh Allen. That's probably not going to happen. As of right now, Patrick Mahomes, Jaden Daniels was the other name, okay? Yeah. All quarterbacks. Most of them, I would say. Now, Mahomes, the last 5 games has been unbelievable. First few, not so much.
Don't sleep on Stafford.
Ooh.
Stafford's a sneaky pick because they got 10 games left. They just came off.
Wow.
Well, 100% is a quarterback award, and he's playing just as good as any quarterback. And he's in the old man phase. Like he gets his boy back this week too.
That's interesting.
Green Bray's preaching right now.
I haven't thought about that.
He's got 10 games to make his case, and he's already floating towards the top, in all categories. So I would watch closely for Matt Stafford because this isn't a rigging type thing, but a lot of times they like stories. Mm-hmm. And if he's deserving, it's a situation where it's a storyline. You throw him an MVP. If he's deserving, you throw him an MVP. He's got a Super Bowl win. The narrative has changed, and he's going to be there at the end. So it's not like you're giving him anything. He would be somebody I would keep an eye on.
That's a really good call.
Yeah.
I had not thought of that. You know, obviously there was a lot of Baker Mayfield before the Lions game. Some people actually thought Dak Prescott. I heard somebody over the weekend. I know. I'd get a good laugh out of that. Not me. I'm just saying some people. Somebody hinted at Drake May over the weekend, and I'm like, okay, well, can we just pump
He'll be, what do you call it, most improved player.
Yeah.
I think he'll win most improved.
Okay, I can buy that. Yeah. I'm not. I need to look up Stafford and see exactly where he is. He's sixth in yards. Again, I don't know what it matters. I mean, I think your team's got to win, but he is number one in touchdowns. Okay, so you're right. 17 TDs, and I think he's only got like a couple of picks.
Also, too, he played. You want to see like what the schedule looks like. Like, who did you have these wins against? Like, what did you do? Like, remember what year was that? That was 2 years ago when Lamar won his last one. The game that won it was like whoever wins between the 49ers and the Baltimore Ravens, that guy's going to win MVP. It came down to he and Brock Purdy. He balled out. He wins. But they play the Lions. They play the Eagles. They already played the Green Bay. No, I think they may have played the Packers, but they play the teams that matter on the primetime spaces that matter. So you'll get a chance to see if he's going to win it. You'll see it. So I just think he has a good shot.
It's a good one, yeah. Now, they lost to the Eagles, but still, they have not played the Packers yet, but I do believe they play the Packers. That would make a lot of sense. It's the one shining moment. It is. It's the CBS track for the NCAA tournament. Every player needs that one shining moment. And by the way, the moment that can take you out of the conversation, too, much like we saw last year with Jared Goff, right, in Houston. That kind of what took him out.
That moment last night, does that put, not in the contention, but does that put him a sleeper floating in the wings?
Who's that, Jordan Love?
Jordan Love.
I think so.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because I think the biggest names coming in have not done what most people expected.
That's fair.
Doesn't mean they can't. Doesn't mean Josh Allen can't get back into the conversation. I think it'd be really hard for Lamar Jackson, Jaden Daniels, and I think Patrick Mahomes is probably rising up too. The more they win, obviously, the more that happens. Kelvin Shepard, you and I have tooted this horn for a long time, and for good reason. He has earned massive amounts of respect from anybody who doubted him. They should apologize. And it's not a small sample size. It's legit. What he has done, especially not this past weekend because Detroit was on a bye, but the previous weekend with a makeshift secondary against a really good flipping football team, is one of the most shining moments for a coach. There are rumors, because he played at LSU, that he might be a candidate for the LSU head coaching gig. What are your thoughts on that?
None, because I don't think there's any validity to that. I think what Kelvin Shepard is doing, what he's building here, and understanding that he was LSU, Death Valley, the whole 9 yards. I just think right now his focus is the NFL in all facets. I think right now he's dialed into trying to make sure his defense is as good as he wants it to be, make sure they're as good as they can be. And I think he wants to do that for a couple of years. You see who his mentor was. Remember what Aaron Glenn's mission was when he got here. I want to leave as the greatest defensive coordinator the Lions have ever seen. That was his mindset. And then he felt like once he did that, okay, cool, now I can move up to the next thing, or I can go attack the next space. I think Kelvin Shepard's going to do the same. I think he wants to leave his mark. I think he's just now kind of really getting to what he wants to be. But ultimately, I think it's the NFL. I think NFL is king for him. I think NFL is king. Once you get in and you have an opportunity to get to that next space, or you've set yourself on a trajectory to be a head coach, you're not trying to do that and go to the college landscape space where you got to go contend with transfer portal and NIL and Alabama and Georgia and the landscape shifting. Like, you don't get any type of a certainty in the college space now. Now, in NFL, you get a couple years if you come in with the right one. If you have that conversation, it's going to take this, that, and the third. You'll get 3 years in the NFL. College?
Yeah, you're right. I used to think college was a better opportunity if you went to a really good program that was established and would help almost recruit itself. Yeah. All right? We're not talking about, with all due respect, the mid-majors that I love so much.
Penn State, Florida,
yeah,
Notre Dame.
It's like it's almost, not that it's done for you, you still have to work at it, but it's a really good job. Whereas the NFL, you're dealing with money and you're dealing with attitudes, and guys are making more money than you, and it's a hard thing.
He got an owner that may change his mind one day.
Right.
Like the wind may blow like it did in New York, and he might just decide, like, teabag your whole situation.
Right. Or put you in a really awkward situation like I'm going to sign this guy 2 years, $40 million, $30 million guaranteed, and then go crap all over him, like they did with the Jets. However, it's different now. College is much worse because I think much harder. Much harder than what you've got to do. So I agree with you. I've read that on a number of different social takes, and sometimes, when NFL writers are reporting it, sometimes there is a little fire there that maybe LSU would want to open up the conversation and at least talk to him. I think it would be wise to at least talk to him.
Agreed.
Okay, but that doesn't mean that it's going to change his mind. I think you're right. I think he's headed for an NFL gig at some point in his career, and we wish him well. I'm going to bring up two names.
Product
for you
of
guys.
success.
What's that? Go right ahead.
I said no. That's a product of success. Braylon told us at the beginning of the season when there was a lot of noise about these coordinators, and you echoed it too, that this is what happens to good teams. Your coordinators are going to get poached. People are going to want the secret sauce or the recipe to your success. But this is why I believe as Lions fans, especially as we continue down this road, we're going to see Dan Campbell continue to overcome. All of us were stoic through this process.
Yeah.
And this is why Shep was pissed off when people was like, oh, this was always Dan Campbell's offense and team. Because he was like, where was that in the offseason? It's still Dan Campbell's. I expect him to find the guys yearly now that other teams are going to want to poach.
And they want to. Those guys would want to be here. They want to be part of the staff. And you know why?
Yep.
Because suddenly he's built a tree. Who wouldn't want to be?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, isn't this such a good problem to have if, looking at it from the Lions' perspective, that people want your guys, and you're constantly promoting within. Calvin Shepard was here last year, gets promoted to DC. Whether he goes to a college team or an NFL team or not, but I definitely feel down the line, maybe next year that conversation is had on where he goes. But isn't this a good problem to have outside of, obviously, the annoying national narratives of that offseason after the fact? Oh, they lost another coordinator. What happened? Well, we just replaced 2 head coaches and coordinators this year, and they're doing their thing. And I believe the record with those 2 coordinators is now 5-10, Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson so far. So I would say so far the Lions are doing well with their new coordinators.
They're definitely doing well with the new coordinators. It's a unique situation though. I think one, they've built this thing up the right way. They've built it through the 4 or 5 years. So now the guys that they have in place are leaders and captains of this situation. Jared Goff, when you give him an individual like Johnny Moe, who he knows has some kind of understanding of what this situation looks like. Kelvin Shepard, he's promoted from within. He replaces his mentor, Aaron Glenn. He knows that defense. He knows Hutch. He knows Anzalone. He knows Jack Campbell. So you're keeping a piece of who you are. When it doesn't work and when it's not cool is when you look at the Philadelphia Eagles, who did that the year after they went to the Super Bowl and then lost. And then they removed their Shane Steichen and Gannon. They brought in coordinators that did not know the Philadelphia defense, that did not know who Jalen Hurts was, and they stunk. And they looked bad, and they had to get rid of those guys and bring some other guys in. It works as long as you keep that intact, that identity, for lack of a better word, and they have that. Jared Goff is your leader on offense. Jared Goff understands the offensive playbook. He understands what works. He's going to make sure, as long as you got a guy on that same page, and then with the defense. When you don't do it that way, and you start running the risk of, what team is that? This doesn't look the same. Kellen Moore, he leaves. Look at the Eagles. There's every week it's a different Eagles team. Because this Eagle team you see won yesterday was not the same Eagle team that won the week before that, was not the same type of win they had the week before that, was not the same type of loss they had the week before that.
Yeah, I think it's a great thing because we talk about, not that coaches always want this, but we talk about coaching trees. Marty Schottenheimer's coaching tree featured Bill Cowher, Ken Wisenhut, Tony Dungy. Those are impressive, right? Paul Brown and his unbelievable coaching tree, and Bill Parcells with, obviously, Belichick is a big name there associated with it. And then you look at Bill Walsh, who might have the greatest of all time when he's got certain guys in there like Mike Shanahan and Jeff Fisher and
Mike
Brian
Holmgren.
Billick and John Gruden, and all those guys. And then
Holmgren won, went to 3.
Who's that?
Mike Holmgren.
Mike Holmgren had a really good coach. So
no, I was saying he's under Bill Walsh.
Oh, he's under Bill Walsh, yeah, and then he had a decent one too. So yeah, you're absolutely right. He is under Bill Walsh. So I would say Bill Walsh, and I don't know about Sid Gilman and those guys. I apologize, but if you looked at Bill Walsh, I would guess he has the most impressive tree. Dan Campbell. That's why I root for Aaron Glenn. Begrudgingly Ben Johnson, except for twice a year. I want that to be successful. And then you want Kelvin Shepherd to go out there and do something. And you would eventually, I mean, I don't know if John Morton has aspirations either, but when you get guys like that, it builds more of your credibility, and you attract better coaches to your staff, especially when you're promoting from within. Who doesn't want that opportunity?
Yeah.
I'm going to be a young coach. I want to go coach for the Lions. Why? Well, because I may start as a special teams assistant, and I may move up to eventually a tight ends coach, then maybe a running backs coach who handles the running game part of it, then an OC, and then I'm going to go someplace.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. So I think it's a good problem to have.
You can also build like a network of individuals. You build a network of coaches where you can get other coaches. You can have coaches you work with that work under you. Hey, look. Hey, Dan, I got this guy, man. He's sharp as a whip, man. You should hire him in as a wide receiver coach. I think he's going to do some things for you. Hey, look, I got this guy. He's a linebacker coach right now. Dan, he's going to be your DC in 2 years. Or players. Hey, Dan, look, I got a player I can't do anything with, but look, you bring this guy to your team. Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan, Kevin, they've been doing this for the last, once you go deeper, they've been doing this for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
In terms of setting guys up, hey, look, I got this guy. See what you can do with him. See what you can do with him. You should bring this coach on. Jim and John Harbaugh. How many guys came from Baltimore, went to Michigan, had success, and bounced back to the league, and now they're bouncing over there with Harbaugh in Los Angeles?
Yeah. Jesse Minter, Mike McDonald. I mean, they've been really. Mike McDonald's done a hell of a job in Seattle. Absolute hell of a job.
100%.
Yeah, and Minter's fast tracking. I've got two names for you guys, and then we want to get some more chats. We got one more break, and then we'll get the mailbag and so on and so forth. But I love sports stories. They're really good stories. And I noticed two over the weekend that I wanted to share with you. You guys know, I know Kool-Aid does, Austin Reeves for the L.A. Lakers, right? I mean, here's a guy who...
Oh, that guy that ranked ahead of Cade Cunningham a couple years ago? I know him.
Well, okay. That sounds...
Cade ain't never had 51.
It sounds like you don't like him.
Cade ain't never had 51.
It sounds like you don't like him. Don't blame him because Don't blame him because somebody else was an idiot, okay? The dude had,
That's fair.
Dude had 51 points, 11 boards, and 9 dimes last night. Okay, and he's a guy who was a 0-star recruit, 0-star, didn't start a single game his freshman year, averaged 4 points per game. Started 11 of 31 games his sophomore year. Spent 5 years in college and didn't get drafted.
He was Oklahoma, right?
Okay. That's impressive.
It's very impressive. He would have gotten drafted, but this is a cool thing about his story. This is what they do in the NBA that they kind of do in the NFL, like round 7, round 6, but not really.
Okay.
Like you don't have the power to question.
All right.
They tried to draft Austin Reeves. A couple teams tried to draft him towards the middle to end of the second round, and you know what he had the power to do, him and his agent. They said, no, we're good. Don't draft us because we have our couple spots where if we don't get drafted, this is where we go.
Gotcha.
Didn't get drafted, got out, and then he went to L.A., who came with, it wasn't that much money, but that's where he wanted. He knew that his skill set fit that environment and that he would have success. And now, to the point he got the bag, I love that they have that. Look, you know what? I appreciate the opportunity. Don't draft me 51. I got a situation over here that I think might be better.
Yeah.
Thank you for the consideration. Go a different place. That's what he did.
Yeah, I don't like him because of what he said about Detroit.
Yeah.
However, I do think it's a really cool story. And yes, it was Oklahoma, but he started at Wichita State, which is more of a baseball school.
Yeah.
Lastly, have you ever heard of a Drew Mestemaker? Anybody?
Mestemaker. Sound like a pitcher.
Yeah, it does. Never started a game at the varsity level in high school. He was a 0-star recruit. He was a walk-on. He's a freshman this year. He leads the country in passing. He just threw for 608 yards for North Texas over the weekend. 608 yards. The Mean Green are 7-1, and he leads the nation in passing. Those are two pretty cool stories.
I think so.
Yeah.
Whenever I hear these crazy stats, because those would be the stats like Texas Tech when I was in college, Hawaii when I was in college with Colt Brennan and Tommy Chang. Insert North Carolina.
Well, Houston, when I was a kid, David Klingler.
Very true.
Andre Ware.
I used to just be pissed like, damn, why couldn't when one of these quarterbacks had these ridiculous stat games, I can be a part of it? Like, not one time.
I didn't think of that way.
Did Chad Henney just say, you know what, I'm throwing for 700 tonight. Like, where was the game in the league where Mark Sanchez said, "Don't worry, tonight you going for 300"? Jeez Louise.
I'm sure Chad Henne would have wanted to do it. The problem is there's a guy wearing a headset on the sideline who says, "I don't think you should do it. We're going to run the ball too."
We knew what we were doing. We were going to run the ball all game except for on third down, and then in the fourth quarter, if we need. All right, Braylon, come here. Come on. Let's run some routes. What was it in the first quarter?
Here comes the highlight. All right, when we come back, the mailbag and some super chats. But first, this from Black Rock.
Ooh, Black Rock. Excited for Black Rock Bar and Grill because the Lions are off a bye week, which means when the Lions win, you win, ladies and gentlemen. Once the Lions beat the Minnesota Vikings, take yourself to Black Rock Bar and Grill where you can get a free appetizer. Now, these aren't free, but the price points are nice. Steak and lobster, $19.99. Check.
And
Braylon's,
it's so good, man.
It is
fire.
good.
So good.
It's literally fire because it's cooked on a 755-degree volcanic rock. Braylon's beef, it is 20-ounce New York strip. 20 ounces, it's fire. It is also a $19.99 price point. Don't forget about the fish and chips for $14.99. And just also, why don't you go to Black Rock and look at that menu? The menu is extensive, but everything on there is fresh ingredients, and it is cooked to your specifications, and the vibe is good. So pull up on Black Rock Bar and Grill because the place always sizzles.
And after the Lions win this weekend against Minnesota, appetizers, right? Free apps at Black Rock. That sounds really good, doesn't it? You bet it does. You know what else is fire? You know what else is dope? You know what else is really good? Lady Jane's. I understand that your time is valuable. You come in, you sign in, you're sitting in a chair, you're chatting it up with a lovely young lady. Next thing you know, you got the best haircut that you could possibly expect, and you're out the door. That's the way they get it done, Lady Jane's, and that's why Lady Jane's is wicked awesome.
Every Sunday, there's only one place to get all your kneecapping, hard-hitting Detroit Lions coverage. Start your Sunday with the Lions Weekly Report with Broder and Terry Foster. Then, the Lions pregame show with Neil Rule and Sean Baligian. At kickoff, keep it locked in for all the emotions of the game with a live watch party with the heavyweights. Then, recap the game with the Lions postgame show with Anson. Game days, there's no other place to be than Woodward Sports. Live all game day. Go Lions. Hunting season is almost here, Detroit, and your Lions are on the prowl. Make sure you're locked into Woodward Sports for all the Dan Campbell reactions, Jared Goff touchdowns, Amon-Ra first downs, Penny pancakes, Kirby picks, Gibbs big plays, and of course, Jack Fox's leg. Stay locked in on all your Lions coverage right here on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or bust Lions network. Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
Why do we fight? We fight to protect the innocent, to hold the powerful accountable, to bring the oppressors to justice. Why do we fight? We fight to secure and preserve our civil liberties, to get each and every one of our clients the justice they deserve, and to make the lives of real people just like you whole again. ThenFights.com.
If you are looking to place any bets tonight or later on in the week or even next weekend for some football, head over to Caesars Sportsbook, scan that QR code on your screen or enter the code Woodward1000. And if your first bet doesn't hit, you get your deposit right back. Maximum bet of $1,000, minimum bet of just $20. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app today, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. Use code Woodward1000 or scan that QR code.
And we back.
It's interesting. Somebody in the chat said, you know, we believe in Shep, not me, but Kelvin Shepard, and for good reason, because
Oh, you sure you're not talking about you?
I'm definitely know they're not talking about me.
You talked a lot of people off that
I don't
ledge.
know, man. That
after
might be
week
1P
loss.
on there.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying.
I don't have a headset.
Okay.
I don't have dreads, and people on the defense don't look at me and say, "I will follow you."
You
But
gotta get Shep some dreads.
that would be special. That would be something else, wouldn't it?
Shep dresses up as Shep on Friday?
Yeah, I'll see that on Friday. Yeah, that would be fantastic, right? Anyway, Dana O'Shaughnessy says, we think Shep is good because he's doing a lot with a little. Johnny Moe is doing less with a lot more. So why aren't we talking about Johnny Moe falling flat a little bit? Is this just the line? How do you think they've fallen flat, if at all? The Lions.
I don't think they've fallen flat, but I think they have been flat at times. I think you look at some of the second half situations as it relates to the offense that they've stalled in the last 3 games, whether it was the Browns, whether it was the Bengals, whether it was the Buccaneers. Like, they still stalled in those spaces. Jared Goff had an interception last game. Jared Goff had an interception the game before that as well when he started off with none. So I think you look at that. Maybe they're talking about that. Running between the tackles. Like, it just the last game, we found out Jahmyr Gibbs did his thing. And the offensive line looked good in those plays. We broke some of those down. But those plays are far and few in between in terms of the running between the tackles. It doesn't look like, for the beginning of the season, it just looks like there was some struggling. It didn't look as smooth replacing Frank Ragnow, replacing Kevin Zeitler. It takes time. It's gotten a little bit better, but there are spaces in there where it looks a little flat.
Yeah, I get it. It's specifically Kansas City and Green Bay because those are their 2 losses, but they're 8th in rushing, they're 8th in passing, they're top 10 in overall yards per game, and they're also 3rd in points per game.
It's not the stats though, Shep, and that's why I haven't even had this conversation. That's why last week we talked about the Bucs, we talked about the win, talked about the things they did well. We kind of glossed over, some of the the stalling, if you will, because they are those numbers. But if we're gonna have an honest conversation, 2 things can still be true. And I think when you're looking in the space of talking about the teams in which we're talking about, let's not compare them to the games which they won. They beat the Bengals, they beat the Browns, and then they beat the Bucs team. We're talking about the Rams. We're talking about the Eagles. We're talking about the Chiefs. And we're talking about your Indianapolis Colts starring Indiana Jones. Looking at those 4 teams, there's some things the Lions got to clean up, looking at it from that lens.
Yep. I'm not going to disagree with that. I think, there's warts on every team, man. Okay, losing to San Francisco, you're the Rams losing at home to San Francisco when San Francisco is playing without George Kittle, without Bosa, without 2 wide receivers. I think that's a bad loss for the Rams. They're fallible. Everybody is, okay? And you're right. You bring up the Browns and the Bengals. Those are fair examples. They beat the snot out of the Browns, who had just beaten Green Bay. So it's tough to connect the dots in the NFL. I'm not saying we should. I'm just saying we're not giving John Morton a pass here. I'm just telling you his offense statistically, and a lot of it is cushioned because they scored 52 against Chicago and put up big numbers against the 2 Ohio teams, that they've had some injuries too, and they've been okay.
They've definitely been okay. The conversation for me, I thought, was by the fans, like, what's going on with the offense of Johnny Moe? Do you see anything? And in looking through my lens, I'm looking for down the road. And I'm thinking about what those teams would be like, what those games are going to be like.
The matchup.
The matchup. And you're right. They're fallible. They're beatable. They've shown you chinks in the armor. Every team in the NFL this season has. It's just I can understand a little bit from what the chat is talking about, because there are spaces in when you watch the Lions where it gets legitimately quiet for 2, 3, 4 possessions at a time. Like, you start off the game with Amon-Ra St. Brown touchdown, and then you have a Jahmyr Gibbs 85-yard scamper where he takes off. Then there's like nothing at times. It's quietness at times. That happened in the Bengals game in the second half, especially after the first series of the second half. So just
totally understand.
Be mindful a little bit.
No, it's good. It's really good. How about anything else in the mailbag or super chats within the next 3 minutes or so?
Oh, yeah, definitely. We're going to get to a couple of these super chats here from our guy, Michael Wary. He says that the first one, a $2 super chat, and he wears the #1 crown today amongst the top fans. He says the Vikes are in for a butt whooping. Poor JJ.
Which one?
McCarthy.
All of them, but probably McCarthy.
This situation is bad. I mean, their tackles being hurt, and they look ugly. And J.J. McCarthy, I don't think he's ready to deal with that onslaught that is going to be the Detroit Lions if he's the quarterback that's going to take it. But if he is, be prepared, because they're going to pin their ears back, and they will go.
Yeah, I think there's a reason Minnesota held him out as long as they did. I don't think this is an ideal situation for them to bring him back. I do wonder if Minnesota is starting to second guess Not drafting J.J. McCarthy. I'm not going to judge him based off just a couple of games. But letting one of their veteran quarterbacks go instead of saying, you know what, Sam Darnold wouldn't have done it, and it's easy for me to say Daniel Jones now. Daniel Jones had about a 1-year deal. Okay? They essentially went out and did the same thing with Carson Wentz on a 1-year deal. Not $14 million, but they still had to go out and get him. Yeah. Why wouldn't you have kept a guy like that just in case? I don't think they prepared themselves very well in case, A, he got hurt, or B, he struggles like a lot of rookie quarterbacks would.
I think they maybe placed a little this is going to sound crazy. I think they placed a little bit too much faith in who Kevin O'Connell was in this particular situation, who's a damn good coach, and he's showing you what he's done. But he's revamped quarterbacks that been around a little bit.
Yeah.
That are a little older, that have, you know what I'm saying? Like, he hasn't done it with a guy, which, if I'm being honest, and this is my guy, I love JJ, when he was coming out, all the conversation was, he hasn't passed like that. He's not a pure passing quarterback. Has he shown us that he can even be this at the next level? All he's shown us is RPOs, standing the ball off, and a couple runs up the sideline.
Right.
So that's the part that I thought you were going to go.
That's a good point. Yeah. Any more Kool-Aid before we're out of here?
One more from Michael Wary, another $2 super chat. He says, I just know this. The Packers are a fraud. He puts that in all caps with 3 exclamation marks. So he really means fraud, and he puts watch.
Okay. I hope you're right. I don't see it. I see them as a legitimate challenger in the NFC. I know you're looking at the Cleveland loss and the Dallas tie, which is ridiculous.
Cardinals
but
was
Dallas's
close, too.
offense has turned out to be pretty good.
The Cardinals were close, too.
Cardinals were close to the Packers?
Yeah, it was a really, really close game up until the end.
Yeah. I guess I look at who wins.
Fair.
I think the NFL, that's what the NFL is.
I get it.
This past weekend's a little different. We've watched the NFL. You've watched it your entire life. He's played in it. Are we surprised that there's close games in the National Football League? What have we been watching? Of course there's close games. There's upsets all the time.
Yeah, not this weekend, but
not
it was only a couple
except for
games.
Miami, Atlanta just blew my mind. Anyway,
Green Bay is legit. Like
I think they're legit.
Just get over it. I know we hate our division, and as you should.
Yeah.
You're supposed to hate the division. You're supposed to hate the coach that left your team to go to a team in the division. I get that. You can hate them all you want to. Hate them all. But you better respect that Green Bay team is real. What I saw in Michael Parsons and Rashawn Gary on that defensive line, they got some players. We saw that game 1 in Nixon. He's a nice DB, man. They've added some, and you still have the leader that is Xavier McKinney. And on offense, you can say Jordan Love is fraudulent. One of my biggest questions coming into the season was the injury that he had last year.
Mm-hmm.
And people forget he got injured in that first game over wherever the hell they played at, overseas or out the country. He got injured in that game and legitimately sucked for about 8 to 9 weeks of that season. And then he started getting better at the end of the season. But then you run into the playoffs and it's over. So he seems to be getting back to form. You cannot deny 20 completed passes in a row. Because Shep and I were talking about it before. He brought that to the show. It's not just 20 passes. Like, we've seen that happen all the time. Jared Goff's done that in his sleep. But Jared Goff's done where it's like 15 passes to Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery and then 5 nice passes. There were about 9 different types of passes that came in that 20 completion streak for Jordan Love. So I would get past the goofiness of his look and pay attention to what that Green Bay team is as a whole. Because let's not forget, Matt LaFleur has been doing this for a while. He went 13-3 3 years in a row with Aaron Rodgers, and he's been to the playoffs a bunch of times as well. So
I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I think
not at all.
They're a solid
They're
team.
legit.
Yeah,
the good news is you already played in Green Bay. That's the best thing about the Green Bay Lions situation is the next game is down the street.
Glad you could be with us here on this Monday. Join us tomorrow, 2 o'clock here on the Braylon Edwards Show. Have a great rest of your Monday, everybody. And don't forget the heavyweights a little bit later on today here on Woodward Sports.
Looking for your daily sports fix? Look no further. Join Braylon Edwards, the University of Michigan legend.
Lofting it right corner of the end zone for Braylon, up in the air. Touchdown, Michigan!
And Shep.
Do you believe this comeback?
Your favorite sports commentator as they tackle the hottest topics in the world of sports. Catch the Braylon Edwards Show with Shep, Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. on the Woodward Sports Network. Get ready to laugh, learn, and love sports like never before.